Overall, I kind of dig it, but it could be.
Son, what are you watching there?
Well, Dad, it's Larry Arts Productions, home to many types of content, including stop motions, reviews, unboxings, and other types of videos.
I knew getting the internet for my kid was a mistake. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the forest out in Motegi City, Japan. That of the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, heading international for that of race number 5, as the drivers get themselves set up for that of the Larry Art Productions 225 at Twin Ring Motegi Oval. The drivers get to come to a track that was hosted all the way back in 1998 for the NASCAR. They got to have a fun, that of a NASCAR Thunder Special Motegi 500 race, where you got to see these drivers back in NASCAR days test out this course, a track that was built to test out how oval racing could be in Japan. And tonight, a track that admins have been waiting to see for 4 seasons, and they finally get to see how the trucks can handle this egg-shaped track. And I can't wait for it. Thank you for joining us on your Monday night here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. And Zach, we come to a track that, for many, this is their first time ever touching this course.
That it is, Sam. First time ever for a lot of these drivers. First time commentating a race here for myself, and first time spectating one here on iRacing even. So I'm very intrigued to see how this race plays out. I think it's going to be a fun night of drivers learning. And I think when you have a track like this that is so, I'd say weird, and different from what we normally see out there on the circuit, I think it's going to be a night where some drivers could come out here and surprise us, who just pick it up that much faster than the rest of the group around them. But one thing I do know, it is going to be very important to get a good qualifying lap here, because the one thing the drivers talked about all week long, it's going to be tough to make passes in that dirty air.
All week long, they had it off as they didn't race last week. Last time these drivers were on track, got to see that of Cody Reed in the 25 finally break his streak of poor finishes and winning his first ever ISRC Truck Series at the Glen. This, I would say, Zach, is the start of a very odd couple of weeks these drivers are going to be dealing with, as starts off here at Twin Ring Motegi. They then head to that of Darlington Auto Club. Then they go dirt track racing at Port Royal. And then we finish off this weird 5-race streak at that of going to Fuji back to Japan. So drivers certainly are going to have a lot to handle, testing their skills at a lot of different dynamics. But like you said, qualifying track position could be the key, as right now Trenton Jump top of the board with a 36.603 time, as we still got about a handful of other drivers still trying to put in their last time here for qualifying.
Well, if you look at the track map of this track, it's very interesting that how it's shaped. You got the 2 different sides of this racetrack, with turn 1 and 2 being a much wider sweeping corner, and just a much longer corner in general, with also some very good character with the bumps in it, so it can add into that racing around that bottom line there. But then down you head into 3 and 4, it's a much tighter corner where it's a much shorter arc around it, and it takes, even these drivers are going to have to be downshifting into 3rd gear to have that optimal gear ratio through that tighter apex of that corner. So it's fun to see how that is going to all work out. Do we see drivers maybe miss that shift and make a mistake that maybe puts them in trouble, or do we see someone who masters it and really comes out here and really knows how to get around this racetrack? So it's a wild track, and I mean, it's comparable, I'd say, to a track like Darlington, like Gateway, where you got the opposite ends that really just produce 2 different styles of racing on both sides.
And what's interesting about you pointing out that it looks like Darlington, that actually was the track that this track was based around. A lot of when this oval was trying to be really imagined, that of engineers from Japan were looking at that of racetracks in the state side, and one of the super speedways and speedways that they saw was Darlington, and kind of really grasped onto that track. Took the identical way that this track, if you look overhead, the same. It's the banking wise and the way that you run this track very different, which we're going to get a good test of the differences from both tracks. Zach, I don't think the admins recognized it at the time, but we go from here at Motegi to Darlington, 2 tracks that are going to be overhead the same, but race so differently.
It will be very fun to see how the differences between those 2, because again, like you said, it's based off of that racetrack, and it's going to be one of those nights to see how they compare. But looks like qualifying has come to an end, and we got our starting grid coming up.
Qualifying is done. The track is getting ready to get stacked, and let's take a look at where these drivers are going to be starting here tonight. as it's going to be seen that at Trenton Jump, our Season 2 champion, going to be taking the pole with Mark Whitley to his outside. Cody Reed, our last winner here for the ISRC Truck Series, going to be in that 3rd. Ethan Smith 4th. Ollie Fonseca going to be 5th. With that of Ryan Crawford going to be in 6th position. Danny Cochran in 7th. Nick Crawford 8th. 9th going to go to that of Malik Kuntz as well. In 10th place, it's Jonathan Smith.
Travis Everett's going to be in the 11th starting position with 12th going today to Noah Steele. Cedric Hunter in the 13 machine is going to start in 13th. 14th is going to be John Forbes with GTA Azari bringing it here into 15th position. 16th is going to be Tyler Dingler. Logan Brakey going to be in the 17th position. 18th is going to go to Cody Smith. And the last 2 in the top 20, it's Kyle B. Tate 19th and Joshua Kanata there in 20th.
Off of suspension, Austin Halsey back out on track for the 99 with that of Matt Upbrook going to be in 22nd. Christopher Norris going to be in 23rd with that of Stephen Baldwin going to be in 24th. That of Zachary Peterson finishing out our top 25 with Dakota Moniz 26th, Brian Fine in 27th, Mark Morales 28th, 29th goes that of Eric Stamp, Jesse Thornack finishing out our top 30.
In the last 6 trucks on our field, in the 31st position, it's going to be the one of Michael Sheffield. Justin Smith's going to be in 32nd. 33rd is going to go to Tyler Horn. 34th is going to be Jordan Schmeets in the last 2 cars here on the field. 39 of Joshua Freed and the 28 of Matthew Gilliams.
It'll be 36 trucks ready to attack this course. Originally scheduled, this race was going to be around that of 150 laps, but after testing, the admins decided to drop down that total. We're going to now only do 125 laps. But our stage break going to stay at lap 50 with 0 fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with. But Zach, with the stage at lap 50, that means these drivers got a lot to handle.
That they really do, Sam. It's going to be interesting because if we do get a yellow, that puts them in the realm of, being able to save the fuel and get there. Because doing a little bit of math, looking at a little bit of data before we came into this race, it's about 49 laps on a tank of fuel. And that could change as the run goes on a little bit. You could start to burn a little bit less fuel with less throttle time as the tire wear kicks in. And you really start to see the tire wear kicking when it drops those lap times. So we'll see if that becomes a factor. But if we do stay green here, these drivers got to keep in mind they got to get to that lap 50 marker and then get back around one more time. So it's not just saving 1 lap; it's pretty much saving a lap and a half, in my opinion.
It's going to be a tall task. Drivers, some feel confident, others a little worrisome. And on top of that, you got to save fuel and save tires. Tires could be a big factor to watch out for as the drivers getting themselves ready to tackle this 1.5 mile course as they are ready and set to go for the Larry Art Productions 225. They get to test out international waters here at the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series into the restart zone. And we are green with Trent Jump. Mark Whitley thundering down the front stretch and heading to turn number 1.
And even start for our top 2 there. You're going to see Ethan Smith fan out wide there in that outside second row. But it's going to be Trenton Jump looking to clear the 77 of Mark Whitley as they solidify that. It's going to be the 25 of Cody Reed, though, trying to make the pass on his teammate there off the exit of turn 2.
The exit of the corners could be the most treacherous part of this race, and for now, Trenton Jump leads the way. You're seeing Ethan Smith trying to make the pass on Cody Reed, the teammates from Blackjack Racing, those trying to get on the brakes hard. Who's going to be aggressive in the early portions? It's going to be Trenton Jump with the pole out of turn number 4, and leading lap number 1 goes to that of the 46, and for the rest of the field, they survive 1 lap, but here comes Mark Whitley diving it down into turn number 1.
Yeah, what a dive there from the 77 machine. He was looking to get everything there out of that move, but it's going to keep Trenton Jump from all the way getting to that apex like he'd like. It pushed him up out the groove. He got a little bit loose. This is actually going to give Mark Whitley that chance. Here, head down to 3.
Going to be seeing that of the 72 into the outside wall, scattering the rest of the field. And that of Jonathan Smith, a great qualifying time for himself, but losing a ton of momentum, scattering the field. But up front, Mark Whitley, the much better 3 and 4. The 77 taking the lead and will lead that of lap number 2.
What a move from the 77 of Mark Whitley up front. He has been able to get to that lead, but Trent Jump still fighting back in this 46 machine, but it's just going to be not enough. That inside lane seems to be the fastest way around here to start this event, and Mark Whitley's been able to find himself to get to that bottom and really take away those chances from Trent Jump. And it's kind of interesting to see how well that bottom really worked compared to that second groove down here in 3 and 4. I felt like Trent Jump would have that preferred level of grip up on the outer groove, but just could not stick it and make it work. But it's Danny Cochran now behind them, trying to make his pass on the 24 of Ali Fonseca.
Yeah, trying to make the pass here, as those are two drivers actually were doing a lot of practicing with one another before this race started, and they are going to be trying to single up in line. Actually, it's going to be that of 4 drivers that all were practicing before this session started. That of Ethan Smith in 3rd, 4th Danny Cochran, Ali Fonseca in 5th, and 6th of Cody Reed. All we're trying to figure out how to perfect this track coming into tonight. And practice certainly was all in, and listening to those drivers during their practice, and I got to talk with them, they were saying track position is going to be the key factor. They have to be up front. Main reason why fresh air is so necessary. When you're stuck behind somebody, you just cannot make any type of moves.
One of those tracks that's going to be tough, and it's going to be one of those places where you got to get yourself out front, as you spoke about that clean air. And right now we're watching a driver in a good bit of dirty air. This is the 74, Nick Crawford, that we're riding on board with. He's directly behind Ryan Crowfoot in that 12 machine. He's having a great run here to start off his night. And this front set, or really front 8, have kind of broke a little bit away from Malik Kuntz and the 98 behind him. But you can see right here, everybody trying to get as low as possible in these corners to find the grip near that white line.
It is 12 of Ryan Crowfoot. I mean, someone that's trying to find at least some type of consistency. He's been caught up and kind of been a magnet around a lot of misfortunes in the early portions of this season. You know, had the major disaster with himself and Joshua Free being collected with one another at Daytona, but then after that, it's just been misfortunes over and over again. 12, loving the fact that he's up front and in the top 10, as here comes that of Noah Steele trying to make a pass here on Malik here in the 98.
Noah Steele using that bottom to his advantage. And again, look, the outer groove, it seems like it's hard to be able to hold down and really keep someone from getting the run off the corner there on the outside. And normally that's the preferred position when you want to try to hold someone back, is be on the outer groove. But what I've seen so far, this inside line is very, very strong. If you get to someone's inside, they usually just lose grip up in that second groove and just really push the nose. And right there, Cedric Hunter, he took advantage of the 2 racing in front of him. He got to the inside area in 1 and 2 and got a great run off of 2. He's going to have the advantage now down to 3 and 4 and just clear the 8.
Just trying to clear the 8, and as well, watch out for GT Irizarry, who was trying to poke the nose, not able to get close enough. But Noah Steele trying to get back into the throttle, but just was stuck there by the Hello Kitty pink machine, is riding on board with front bumper of this GT Irizarry in the 14. He's got to be careful with trying to make these moves on the exit of the corner, because behind him going to be John Forbes in the 11, who's trying to settle in and try to figure out how to keep himself moving forward, as we've had that of about most of the field that's in our top 15, all moving up at least 1 or more positions from where they started, with others falling back quickly. And the biggest one who's lost most positions is the 9 of Travis Everhart, who's really lost the most ground out of everyone on track in our top 20.
And Travis Everett just not having the greatest start to his event here tonight, as he's fell back to that 16th position like you spoke of after starting in 11th. So we'll have to see can he solidify that. But Tyler Dingler right in front of him in the 19, he's all over the back deck lid in the 29 Logan braking. I know Tyler put in a good bit of work this week trying to make sure coming into here at Motegi he had a great run, and so far the 19, he's up 1 position from where he started, but I'm sure he wants to be farther along than that.
Absolutely does, as right now watching these two battling for 15th place. We have an update for a driver that has already called it a night out of Jonathan Smith. Had an early frustrations, got into the outside wall in lap number 3, has not been able to recover, and actually had its engine blow for that of the 72. He is done, and he will be coming back next week at Darlington.
Tough break there for Jonathan Smith. Just had a great starting spot, and it all went up and smoked that quickly, and it just shows you how brutal it can be when you get that damage on your truck. So we'll see how he can rebound, like you said, at Darlington. But here's the 12 of Ryan Crowfoot, still in his 7th position, and he's starting to make headway on this 25 of Cody Reed in front of him. So great start for Crowfoot. Can he get up into the top 6 here within the next few laps? Because it looks like he's starting to challenge that 25, who's slipping back a little bit from where he started up there, battling his teammate Ethan Smith, who still holds the 3rd spot.
Zach, I want to know your thoughts on this. I mean, this is a track that we're seeing right now, kind of a single file. Everyone's trying to run the similar lap after lap on where they're at. Do you think that there is any way to save tires or any way to advance your position right now in the long term? Because right now it just seems like it's throw it down and good luck if your truck sticks based on what we're seeing right now.
From what I've seen so far, I think you're exactly right with just throw it down, make it stick, because it seems like that bottom lane has just been very, very good. If you wash up off that bottom lane, it seems like just the truck doesn't have the same rotation that it normally would. And when you don't get the drive off the corner with these long straightaways that Motegi has, you're going to be able to make good ground up on somebody. So I think you got to be able to make sure you get to the white line, get down there, hit the apex, because if you're washed up the racetrack, you're giving up speed to the drivers up ahead of you. But it's always tough too, because they're trying to hit that line and they take that dirty air and just put it right on your nose. So it's, I think, a tough track in my opinion in the past, but from what I've seen, it's definitely doable. You just have to be patient and not overdrive your equipment. If you overdrive it, you're definitely going to suffer to that dirty air, but you got to equate that dirty air into your line. And when you can do that, you'll be able to make passes. And we're still seeing a few of those being made, as even Danny Cochran there, and we'll see him come off of turn 2. He's just made the pass for third, but it's Ethan Smith who tries to cross him back over with that slide job move down the lane.
I just love this shot. Look at the exit of turn 2. This is one of very few spots where you're going to see drivers getting real close to that outside wall, and also the exit of 4, where drivers are talking about throughout the week of that tightness level. And here's the shot of drivers trying to hit the center apex of that at turns 3 and 4. Trying their best to just hit their marks, as you're already starting to see that black groove as some drivers are already finding just the wall even in the center of the straightaway. But I mean, Zach, drivers right now just trying to survive as we're 14 laps in to this first stage. Again, our stage break at the end of lap 50, but I'm loving these shots that we're getting right now. Big thanks to our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., who's giving us all the shots. As you see here, Logan Brakey, who I believe was that driver that hit the wall on the front stretch.
Whew, that camera, it got scared, because I know I did. So that was such close action there off of turn 2, and that's, like you said, Sam, it's going to be some of the closest spots on this racetrack for him, is exiting off that turn 2, with it being a much wider sweeping corner. It just seems like these drivers want to use every little bit of the track available to them, and you get to see that here through 1 and 2, and the bumps there through the middle. That's what I'm thinking is very interesting about this track. It's got a lot of character. That groove has been worn out over time and been very much used as the preferred way around this racetrack, and it's caused those bumps to form also. So it's definitely a track with a ton of characteristic, and you know, when you compare it to a track like Darlington, it's pretty awesome to see. The shape is so similar, but you're running the bottom here instead of that top side like you would at Darlington, so it really has its own flair and own style.
That it certainly does. And I mean, this track has been used for many a different series throughout the years. You know, IndyCar used this track for so many years they had to move away from it. But I mean, there's so much history looking at Twin Ring Motegi. The fact that NASCAR actually came for one exhibition race for themselves, and it's been great to see iRacing once again bringing history to us and allowing drivers to try out this track. And you know, we were touching on it before we went live. I mean, Zach, these drivers on this oval course are actually driving over a tunnel that they are on every single lap. So it's always interesting on how that could also be the reasoning why we see a little bit of this characteristic on this track.
It very well could, because especially where those bumps are at, there's a tunnel under turn 1. There's also a tunnel in the entry of turn 3. So there's 2 tunnels on this track. It's a little something that you normally don't get to see too many times, because we speak of those corners like at Pocono, turn 2, for example, the tunnel corner, because that tunnel underneath there, it has to have different building structures underneath it. So normally that causes some of those features like bumps to form over that part of the racetrack. And personally, where the tunnel is at in the middle of 1 and 2 is directly where those bumps start. So that is definitely leading to a lot of the characteristic that the track has. And it's cool to see that actually, you know, kind of cross over from, you know, Japanese architecture to American architecture. So it's one of those things that's very, very normal for a racetrack that has tunnels, but we'll see how those guys can navigate the bumps all night, trying to find the grip, because you got to go right over top of them. That's another thing, is you just can't miss them. That's where the grip level's at, so you got to get used to going over them.
Yeah, you either take it extremely wide and hope that you're carrying enough speed to go around the bumps and still be able to have a great exit of the corner, or you just hope that the truck's going to stick once you go over these bumps. Just seeing the line here with Cody Reed, seeing the train of drivers from 2nd back to 7th, just sticking with one another and all aiming for the same spot, dealing with the dirty air. And Zach, I think with the dirty air, I mean, the factors that are going to affect these drivers as the run goes on. What are you expecting to see how the drivers might have to change up their driving styles as we're 20 laps in?
When you're in that dirty area, you got to do a little different stuff. You know, you would like to run your normal line, but you really can't. The key place is to get air on the noses. The caution's out now, so this is going to bring out a different aspect right here.
Caution is out, and it's coming off the exit of 3 and 4 as it's going to be the 96. Zachary Peterson having his issues as caution comes out at a pretty interesting time here for these drivers. Talking about how they maybe need to change things up. Well, here we go. Going to be seeing how well the drivers can attack here on this restart, because I think the decisions of how important our stage point's going to be here, Zach, could be an opportune time to be taking tires with us being 21 laps in, as we see the reasoning why this first yellow comes out.
We get to see how this worked out. Is this going to be Zachary Peterson there in the 96 machine? You also have Matthew Gilliams there in that 28 on the bottom with Martin Morales in the 91. Michael Sheffield right directly behind those three. And you're going to see down in the 3, the 28 on the very bottom line, the 96 about a half a groove up there off that white line. And you're just going to see here a slight bit of contact between these two on this bottom groove. It's going to be the 28 coming up and just trying to go underneath the 96. There was no room there. Got into the quarter panel, and that sent the 96 sliding. And luckily for him, I don't believe anybody else hit him, is Martin Morales. He's going to have a scary ride there. As you see, he's got it locked down trying to miss that 96, and he's going to turn down the racetrack and do a great job of missing that. As here comes the 96 back down, and he's going to have to dive to the left here not to get hit by him. But so much width on the racetrack with how wide it is, there was plenty of space for everybody to dodge that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think this track, love the characteristics of, is that it does allow that factor of, wreck avoidance is there if you have enough time to react. And both those drivers playing a great dance of how to avoid one another, as all drivers hitting pit road. No one's staying out except for that of thought we were going to be seeing one driver stay out. I misspoke there. Everyone into pit road.
Yeah, everybody looks like it except for actually maybe Eric Stamp. Eric Stamp is a 53. He's the lone man. It seems like Eric Stamp does this strategy a good portion of the season where he tries to save a set of tires. But with 5 sets here tonight, I think you possibly are going to want to go ahead and burn a set here just due to the factor of how valuable those stage points can be, but also just due to the factor of how much they were already starting to fall off with their runs. So we'll have to see how Eric Stamp can fare here. We've seen him do it before, and he's done always a good job of, not being in the way with the old tires. He always finds a good exit route to be able to move out of the way of these drivers. But it is a tough predicament when you're out front here with older set of tires being out here. You got to pick and choose where your battles are, because you can quickly get into the wrong lane and someone might be a little bit too impatient and they could run you over.
It certainly could be a cause for issues. As we're under our first caution, we see it in the chat. Will Bustler talking about Saturday night, our last Saturday we just had, an incredible night that we had up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you're able to watch it live, you can also go back and rewatch it. We had our second annual charity race as we were raising money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, having a full-length Daytona 500, and it was a fantastic night just to be a part of. And Zach, I know it was a special night for everyone that was part of the crew, and also for the drivers that were a part of the racing.
It warmed all of our hearts so much just to see the love and the care everybody took with that race. I mean, even myself as race control, I got to give all of the drivers out there huge credit, because sometimes when you're race control, drivers can get a little bit snippy and a little bit upset with all the emotions and tensions running, and never had a problem. I mean, they were just class acts during the races. And even when people had issues with other drivers making, moves that maybe they didn't like, there was no major confrontation. So I got to give them a huge credit as a great group of drivers, and thank them so much for not only, getting their friends and family to tune in and donate, but also themselves being involved in it. And here soon, we'll be having some news about some stuff being given away to all those drivers who competed possibly. Yeah,
there were different tiers for that of Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation that we actually were able to hit as a charity that was donating, and it's amazing to see how we can now give back to the drivers that gave their time and finances to help out a great cause. Pace cars off into the restart zone, and Eric Stamp trying to pull away. Again, the 53 old tires. Rest of the field just took 4 tires and fuel, and they're ready to see how they can take us to the end of this stage. As that of Eric Stamp already, you can see the speed difference, but watch out the exit of the corner. The 2 of Danny Cochran, Mark Whitley, also that of gonna be Trenton Jump, 3 wide. Mark's gonna be loose, somehow holds on, and that was a scary spot. They're gonna be dashing 3 wide once again for that 3rd place, 3 wide for the lead. Trenton Jump, heroic move for the 46, as he's gonna be trying to take the lead here, and Trenton Jump has it now, but watch out for the crossover move by the 2, not able to do so, as they're still fanning out, and that's just the restart lap. Let's try it again.
Wild moments here in Japan, folks, as the drivers are slideways off each exiting these corners, opening up the door for 3 wide passes. And right now, Danny Cochran still in the 2, trying to set up the 46 ahead. We got the 77 of Mark Whitley. He's trying to get back by Fonseca, who's also gotten passed by Ethan Smith. So what wild racing we're seeing here on this second restart. And these drivers learned on that first one, maybe they want to get that track position, so everybody going for it.
And the lead battle is not over just yet. Trenton Jump, Danny Cochran. Cochran's going to get loose. He overcorrects into the outside wall. Everyone else going to be going to the inside past the 2 machine. And just small moments like that, Zach, is exactly what all the drivers are fearing. If you get loose just once, you can lose so much track position, and they're wrecking behind for last place. It's that of going to be Jordan Schmitz, spun around for the 4.
Tough break for these drivers in the back. They're just racing hard side-by-side action, but whew, we got to take a breather after that one because that was crazy action. Didn't think we'd see 3 wide too many times here at the Motegi, this Motegi racetrack, but I tell you what, Twin Ring Motegi has not denied us a good show so far, as you're going to see contact between this 4 machine and the car on his outside, which I believe was Gilliams, who was just involved in the last one there. And it was a tough break because those 2 just kind of came together.
It came together, and then right off the hood of the 8 of Noah Steele that sent the 4 spinning around, and hard contact for that Schmitz, and luckily not required damage given to the 4 machine, but very aggressive as he's going to have to come into pit road. Some extended time for optional repair is going to be there, as that was your 2nd time for a caution, and now we get to reset, try it again. And Zach, this was the fear that drivers were kind of curious on how this race was going to turn into, because they knew that cold tires, these trucks are very unstable, and we saw a couple of very unstable moments attack, and they're just going to cool down these tires and try it again.
Cooling them down is definitely happening right now, and it's going to be an interesting factor to see on this next restart. It does look very tough out there, especially at the exits of these corners. And Mark Whitley, he did a great job of saving his machine coming off a 2 on that first lap when it was 3 wide. Then Danny Cochran was going for that move on the inside. Trenton Jump just lost it to the inside of him off a 4, and he kind of got into that outside wall somewhat decently, and we'll see how well he can come back from that, because he's coming to pit road and getting that machine worked on. So he's going to try to get that damage repaired, but again, with the track so high speed and downforce inclusive, that I think you're really going to need to get that damage fixed. So I'm not surprised to see Danny Cochran coming back down the pit road, but it kind of makes sense even for turn 4 to be kind of treacherous like that with the downshift. That lower gear in 3rd gear, the RPMs are turning a much higher rate. That's going to want to cause those rear tires to light up.
And also, I think the sensation of I can get back in the throttle sooner is something the drivers were testing a lot during this past week that they had off, of trying to figure out how to perfect. Okay, can I get on the throttle at this point of the corner, or do I need to let it roll a little bit further? And there we saw just got on the throttle a little bit too soon, and the rear ends got a little bit out of shape. That change of momentum and weight really got the 2 out of shape, put them in the outside wall, got some damage repair, going to stay on the lead lap. And as well, for that Noah Steele, he's going to be able to come into pit road. Matthew Gilliams is in pit road, just getting done with his repairs. It's Schmitz that's going to be staying at least 1 lap down, maybe even more, as he finally gets out there on track. But for Eric Stamp, I mean, Zach, this is going to be a curious moment for that of 53, because we know tire wear is going to be a big factor for these drivers. That was only about a lap and a half that we got to see these drivers on green flag running. Curious on how much will that help this 53, as he's going to be all the way back in 31st position.
We'll have to see if it helps him at all. I'm kind of unsure if it's going to be a help or kind of more of a hindrance with how much track position that he's lost. I mean, he did start in 29th, so it wasn't like he was too far up when we did come to pit road there. But still, just the way this track looks, the farther back you get, the tougher it's going to be. You're going to have to make passes very methodically, and if it takes you a while to get those passes done, it's going to be tough for him to try to go up there and get stage points in that 10th position. So tough for Eric Stample. He was probably hoping to 10-15 laps here, ran out, and then had a caution to where he could have a huge advantage on those tires when he took them. But now just going to have a slight little bit of an advantage, and he's going to have to watch out too for the cold tires because we've already seen it is very, very treacherous off the exit of these corners when those tires are just beginning to warm up, and every single one of these drivers have gone through multiple pace laps now. So we could see even some more action here on this next one.
Oh, we still are coming up to that of 20 laps to go before we get to the lap stage break at the end of lap 50. So drivers still trying to figure out how to settle in, get themselves prepared for some aggressive racing. As up front, drivers ready into the restart zone, and we're green once again for the Larry Art Productions 225. Ollie Fonseca, that of Ethan Smith, battling for second as Trenton Jump is already gone. Aggressive moves by that of the 24, trying to stay in that lead position in second place. And here comes Mark Whitley, a big slide and scare the last time around, now trying to stay stable.
See what he can do with the dirty air this time. He got quickly to the lead in that first run, battling with Trenton Jump. And I think he's going to find out quickly that that dirty air is a different beast to handle here. But we're seeing now GT Rosari, he's trying to battle the 11 of John Forbes. GT's been doing a good job to work his way through the field. Makes the pass, now up to 7th for the 14.
14 up 8 positions. Also another driver that's up that of 11 spots. In 9th place, going to be that of Joshua Kanata. But man, you saw there in a picture the drivers that are battling for 15th on back. It looks like a swarm back here, Zach. This is the gaggle of cars you do not want to be around.
That you really do not. This is a gaggle. It's a good way to say it for sure. And right now you got Tyler Dingler in the 19 machine. He's got Jesse Thornock who's going to his inside. You also got Travis Everett right behind that group. And it's really wild as they're wrecking behind him.
Oh, that's Freed.
Out.
That's going to be the 39 of Joshua Freed, who was sliding into the corner. And that looked to be, especially the way he was sliding, like it was some assistance for that 39. As, again, that is a massive group of drivers. You got some that are going to be fast. They're going to be drivers that are going to be very aggressive trying to go through this traffic. Could have been a little bit of impatience here as we take a look. 39, if this is Joshua Freed, we saw sliding. It's going to be to the inside. Zachary Peterson going to be forced 3 wide with Danny Cochran at the line. And I think Peterson just not able to hold his lane. And I don't think there was acknowledgement that they were 3 wide based on how they were driving there.
Tough break for Joshua Freed, just kind of an innocent bystander there, entering up in that third groove, and Peterson just kind of sliding easily up into him. And we've seen that second groove all night long. Drivers get into it and then slide up about another lane through the center. And so that was just kind of where Joshua Freed was, and that was what brought out that most late yellow there. So drivers, once again, we're going to re-rack them and cool those tires down once more to see if they can get this restart here going and see who has any more issues, because that wasn't a very aggressive restart that last time by. Like you said, Ali Fonseca and the 00 looked to the inside and he closed that door and said, "Not today, Ethan, I'm holding on to second."
I mean, we know we can get some green flag racing in. We were able to run the first 22 laps of this race green flag racing. I think the hard thing is also the acknowledgement of top 10 drivers get bonus points at the end of this stage. You want to be in the top 10. Those bonus points can be so crucial, especially on the fact that there's some drivers coming into tonight that if you look at the points in the standings, you're kind of shocked on how deep they are in the points. I mean, Trenton Jump and also Nick Crawford, 2 drivers that were in the playoffs, both that of 20th in points is Nick Crawford, 21st in points is Trenton Jump. You look even deeper in that of the playoff pool. I mean, there are just so many other drivers, Malik Kuntz as well, that need some good points here today. And if they don't, they're going to be finding themselves into a deeper and deeper hole as we're getting closer to the halfway point of this regular season.
Fortunately for those 3, they are all in the top 12 with Trenton Jump leading the way, Nick Crawford in 6th. And, Trenton Jump, coming off of Watkins Glen, I mean, he talked about the momentum he needed because he just felt like it was just a downward spiral, just always getting caught up in someone else's mess. And if he can just figure that out, how to get through these races, then we could see him going back to have another shot at a championship. I mean, you look back to that championship season, only had one win in it, but he was just so consistent week in and week out, almost top 3 each and every race. And I think that's what he's trying to find his way back to.
Trying to find some more consistency is this 46. Ollie Fonseca also trying to get himself into victory lane. Was able to do it for the first time last season at Dover. And Ollie Fonseca bounced out of the playoffs pretty early. And I would say if the 24 wasn't bounced out of the first round of the playoffs, he certainly was someone that was a favorite to potentially have made the Final Four with the consistency that he was finding. Curious if Ollie Fonseca could find some more consistency for himself as we're getting ourselves ready and prepared for how this is going to be ending out this stage. As, again, stage break going to be at the end of lap 50, and with each lap that passes as we're under caution, the more that these drivers are going to get antsier and antsier.
That they are, Sam. It's going to get more and more aggressive, and they're going to be thrown into the inside trying to make the move stick, and that's where you start to have incidents where drivers slide up into each other. And I think that is well within the realm of what we could see here tonight with these drivers trying to make the most of this race here in Japan. And again, such an interesting racetrack in general, where it is going to be one of those things where I think mistakes are going to be prevalent because these drivers just aren't used to racing here. They might have, ran a ton of race laps here and practiced, but how many laps have they raced side by side with each other? That's going to be the huge question when we get down to the nitty gritty and these drivers look to go for those big maneuvers. As it looks like we finally got the 1 to green here, as we're going to get ready to go back green flag action. And really just a great job by Trenton Jump there on that 2 restarts ago, getting that lead as Danny Cochran got stuck behind the 53, and Mark Whitley, he had his big moment coming out of the 2, so it really opened up the door for this 46 to get back to the lead where he started on pole position. And we'll see, has he learned something from that first little sprint of a run there at the beginning of this race to have the ability to hold on to that lead that he was not able to do at the very, very beginning. So going to see, but it looks like he's pulling low left there. I'm not sure if something's going wrong, but almost into the inside wall.
I mean, I know some drivers, they kind of get into that lull period where they try to have some fun and try to, entertain themselves under pacing. I think that might be what we're seeing here from the 46. It was just trying his best to entertain the field, and honestly giving us a giant scare there because, sometimes drivers don't get that close to the wall when they're trying to mess around. But certainly a little bit of fear crept in for a quick second there as drivers getting themselves ready to go back to green flag racing. Again, our stage ends at the end of lap 50. Let's see how the next 15 laps can handle as we're back to green flag action for the Larry Art Productions 225. Great launch there from Trenton Jump. Ollie Fonseca trying to defend. They're going to be almost 3 wide entering that turn number 1. And Ethan Smith, the better positioning, but watch out for that 77 of Mark Whitley. He wants to get back to the lead spot.
Oh, man, off of turn 2, they're going to go from being 2 wide to continue to be 2 wide as it's Ethan Smith who takes control of second. And it just looks like that inside line just so dominant. If you don't get a good enough restart to clear the inside lane and get down there, you're just really toast up on that top groove. So we'll see who can make the most of it. But Mark Whitley once again using that bottom lane to his avail, and he's going to try to take second here down into turn 1 and try to chase down the 46.
Going to stay down low. Also going to be Nick Crawford with some big moves by the 74. Able to make at least 3 passes there through that 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 last lap. And now everyone with a single file out for our top 5. It's GT Rosari in 6th place, Cody Reed in 7th. Find themselves side by side as we ride on board and get a sense on what it's like by Ethan Smith. And he's got to be careful because to his inside groove, it's Ollie Fonseca who's hoping for the better launch out of the corner. But watch those hands. They are working out of this corner.
And once again, that bottom lane is just prevalent. It just seems like he gets stuck up top and you can't make things happen. But into the corner, way up the groove is the 24. Kind of pushes that 0-0 wide. Can Ethan Smith slide down in front of Nick Crawford? Looks like he can, but here comes Nick Crawford with the run off of 2. Don't think he'll be able to get to the inside, but Ethan Smith definitely got used up just a tiny bit there by the 24 down in the 1, and we could see maybe that come back around at some point.
right in on the back bumper of the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. Ollie Fonseca, Ethan Smith, I mean, these drivers kind of alliances with one another when they prepare for these races, always practicing with one another, from that of Larson Line Racing for Ollie Fonseca and Blackjack Racing for Ethan Smith. I mean, those teammates mix and mingle, trying to prepare for each and every race they go into. Right there was not alliance type racing. Ollie Fonseca trying to make sure he had the better entry in the corner. It worked out for that lap in that positioning. The 24 now trying to set up. How does he get by Mark Whitley, who's just been so consistent, it just seems like, for that of the 77 to get through these corners?
Whitley has been super consistent. You can see here Fonseca was looking to the inside. Whitley had a big moment there off the exit, almost washed up into the wall, and he's got to be careful with that same situation playing out. But definitely seeing some different lines being run, and it's really not even the line that you get to that matters. It's kind of how you get there. So some drivers electing to take a much wider arcing corner to try to miss the bumps as best as possible, and some other ones doing a little bit less as the field is scattered back in the mid part of the field as someone's gotten the wall off it too.
They were all trying to get by the lap car of Jordan Schmitz, who is back out on track, and the 4 has been struggling. And as well, some other drivers have been caught up in some issues. That of Stephen Baldwin was sliding sideways, did not bring out a yellow, but has lost over that of 8 positions as he has fallen back to 28th spot. Now it's got that as Zachary Peterson trying to make the pass here for 28th spot. A lot of these drivers back half of the field continue to be on top of one another. And Zach, you know, we talk about drivers practicing a lot, and that's what we're seeing a lot of the drivers that I know that have been practicing a lot throughout the week that are up front. Majority of these drivers that are back here, I was hearing over the radio for this practice session before we even went live, a lot of them saying, yeah, this is my first time ever touching this track. I just bought it before I got into this session. So drivers might be coming in with a little bit less experience than they might have wanted coming into tonight.
Well, they're trying to learn here as they're going around the track. And it is, in my opinion, the best place to learn is in race, but how much time and valuable, little things that you learn from just practicing yourself that you lose throughout the week is going to really set you up to have those positions up towards the front. And that's what this group does not have right now. As we're looking at Brian Fine in the 32nd position, looking to the inside of Matt Upbrook here. Upbrook just dives it into the corner, but yeah, definitely a track where I think a lot of first-time laps were happening here tonight as they came into this practice session.
And into this practice session, hoping for a little bit more. As you see that of the 5 machine, Dakota Moniz trying to make his move forward, as well as trying to get by that of the 26th of Tyler Horn. These drivers battling back in 26th position as they're catching up to the 1 of that of Michael Sheffield, who's our 25th spot. Got that of 36 drivers start here tonight, and only 1 driver officially out of this race. That was Jordan Smith, who had issues back on lap number 3. Then his engine expired, which forced him to call it a night officially. Our stage break almost done, as that of Ethan Smith able to get by that of Ollie Fonseca. Here comes Nick Crawford, showing that that's 74 and 00. A lot of tires and strength here for the end of this stage, as top 10 drivers get bonus points. If you win, you get 10 in bonus points, 9 for second, and it continues to dwindle down by 1 point for each position. 10th place gets that 1 coveted bonus point that could be the make or break of making the playoffs. And Zach, these drivers battling for 3rd, they are relentless right now.
Relentless indeed, Sam. Man, just a great pass there from Nick Crawford, and just once again showing that bottom groove, if you can just get there, it seems like you can get the pass done. It just doesn't seem like the outside has the ability to hold people back. And here off the exit of 2, big run for the 74 machine. He goes to the inside of Ethan Smith, and if he can keep that positioning here, heading down to 3, which he's got the slot right in behind him, but he's going to duck out right at the last second. We'll see, can he make that work once again, because this bottom lane, again, just so strong compared to the upper groove.
Yeah, if you're going to be stuck at the outside, you got to have to do a diamond aspect of just kind of being so aggressive to the outside, then cutting down and hoping that you've got the rear grip to make that attack work. Well, if you're on the inside, you can just carry your momentum and just gently get back to the throttle, and it will just feels like an easier way around the track. But 1 and 2, this is where you really can get back into the throttle, allows you to drift closer to the outside wall. And the 74 able to keep his momentum, but it's Ethan Smith keeping the pinch, not allowing the 74 to drift up as far as he wants, losing that momentum, but it's the entry of 3. And where we're seeing that inside line just too powerful. And Nick Crawford takes third place, but for how long? Here comes that of the double zeros opportunity. Try to set it down low.
He was looking there for a moment and just was just a little too far back from the 74 to make that dive bomb maneuver, but we'll see him. He cuts it down here late off the exit of 2. Can he get the run off the exit of the corner? But not today. 74 looks to drive himself away from that position, and even with that last lap, Nick Crawford was the fastest car of our top 5 making that pass, so we'll see if he can kind of start to track down those leaders up front, as he's about 1.2 seconds behind those top 2 positions.
The driver that's looking pretty quick, the 11, that of John Forbes, as well as Cody Reed, and starting to see even back here in 10th place, Malik Kuntz looking good for the 98 machine. Malik is loving the fact that he's able to at least stay up front. The 98 has been showing some good promise of being up front. The issue is he gets caught up in some late trouble these last couple of weeks. Hoping those troubles don't waver anymore. We want to see that 98 perform well as we've seen a lot of our other rookies performing this season.
That we really do, Sam, and I tell you right now, he's trying to make a late charge to the inside at 16 to Kanata, and Kanata is going to shut the door, but the 98 is going to make it almost stick and get the run off the top as the 16, but what a power move that almost was for the 98, and he needs every little bonus point he can get from this stage break, and that's why he's trying to go for these positions probably as aggressive as he's looked.
Yeah, and the big thing for Malik, he missed down on Watkins Glen, so we haven't seen him for a couple of weeks, but it was Chicagoland where he's had, his second best finish of the season. The 98's finished either 26th or worst this season, needing some big bonus points. And here tonight, looking for an opportunity, as Cody Reed seems to be struggling with the 25 on the entry of the corner, which backs up that of Kanata, and Malik Kuntz at least loving the assistance of some type of draft, as John Forbes ahead of those drivers able to make the pass for that 6th place.
Last lap here of stage 1. The drivers trying to get any little spot they can to gain track position before we come back down the pit road. Looks like Tyler Dingler here trying to make the pass for 12th on Justin Smith, but just wasn't able to get it complete. But down the back straightaway, they stayed dead even. As you look to the lead, it's the 46, but he's got 2 friends with him here at the exit of 4.
It's going to be that of Mark Whitley trying to real aggressive entry in the corner. Both going to be seeing the 74 and the 77 get loose, but it's Trenton Jump taking the stage here at Japan. Yellow flag comes out as all top 10 drivers have passed the line. And that will be your lap stage break here this evening. Go head over to Instagram and watch great memes and great content at the lap. Let's go on head over. It's the _lap for great content, as that will be your stage winner of Trenton Jump, enjoying this victory. But Zach, that's the quote-unquote easy part, because now comes the difficult part of pit road, where this could be a make or break moment for Trenton Jump.
It really could be, because we've seen so far that getting out front there after a few laps, it really works well. So if you're Trenton Jump, you got to make sure you're clean into your box and clean out the exit of your box, and make sure to get no penalties necessarily. If you lose 1-2 positions, those things happen. It's just pit road, and it can happen to any of us. But if you go in there and you have a penalty that sets you back and puts you back in the back of the field, you're going to have a long, tough climb back up and to get in anywhere in the shot to have a good finish in this race. So we'll see how pit road works out for him, but I'm interested to hear what he's going to say here when we talk to him about this stage win, because this track's looked pretty racy.
We will talk to Trenton Jump after his pit stops. Don't want to distract that of the 46, mainly because in past history when we've done that, usually when we'd interview someone that goes into pit road, they get caught with speeding because they're distracted thinking about our question more than trying to get through their box and trying to make their marks. But looking through the field here, in that of the first, that of 50 laps of this race, biggest mover so far is that of Justin Smith, up 19 positions. But here we go, Zach, into pit road. 46, 77, 74. Let's see if they make any mistakes getting into their boxes.
It was wild to see how that stage ended with how close these 3 were. These pit stops could be super valuable for each and every one of them. No mistakes. Got to make sure you get in the box right. And this is a pit road they're unfamiliar with. We'll see how the grip level is for their boxes.
Looking at these boxes, though, they are massive compared to other boxes we've seen here, Zach. I mean, it looks like it could be pretty difficult to miss your pit entry, as all drivers have hit their boxes pretty cleanly. Trent Jump already done with his right sides, left sides are done. Mark Whitley's taking off. The 77 gonna win the battle out of pit road.
What a drive off of pit road there from the 77, and that's just expertise there of getting back to the throttle. You can't get too hard into that gas and rev, and especially when they drop that jack, if you have the revs built up, you will spin those tires, and that's what it looks like the 46 did. Just pretty much stayed still for a few moments before that thing ever drove forward.
He felt like he was confident he was gonna get a good launch, but it just was not enough, as Trent Jump gonna fall to that as second place. But still going to be our stage winner, and let's get our thoughts from that of the 46 machine as we bring him up into the booth. Trent, it's Sam and Zach. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, stage winner here for that of the lap stage break. How are you feeling, man, after the run's first 50 laps here at Twin Ring?
Well, considering I didn't do no practice all week up until now before the race, I'm pretty happy with how it's going. So, just try to keep doing what we've been doing and maybe take a little bit better care of the right front here. I think we should be here for the end of it, hopefully.
Yeah, Trent, it's been impressive to see that, man, especially with no practice from yourself, like you said. That is super impressive to see how well you have adapted already to this racetrack. What do you think the biggest challenge is so far here at Motegi?
It's like every other track here in Japan. It's abrasive. It's really hard on tires. So I think I kind of knew that coming into here. So just going to try to take better care of the right front. I know I really chewed through it that run, so I just need to try to figure out where I'm going to be able to take care of that and not to chew through it so much. So just learn as we go.
I mean, Trenton, we saw a massive 3-wide pass that you had to do to take the lead there. Are you feeling like big moves like that's going to be the key to try to get and win this race tonight?
Well, first off, hopefully I don't get yelled at for it again, because I did last time. But anyways, no, there's plenty of room for it here, and it's just what happened. You know, restarts are crazy, and you gotta take every chance you get on restarts. So, I mean, if you don't take them, you're never gonna win races. So.
Well, it certainly does seem like it's going to be a crazy one. Good luck. We're going to send you back to your team, but good luck for the rest of the race here, Trenton.
Yeah, thank you, boys. Have fun.
That's going to be the 46 from Armadilla's racing team of that of Trenton Jump, hoping to get a good run for that Colored Teal Graphics 46. Season 2 champ, hoping for a good run, and Zach seems like the outside lane's where he's going to be the restart, and Mark Whitley wants the inside groove.
Not surprised by that. Not surprised one bit at all. This inside groove has been the way to go all night long, but we have seen Mark Whitley on the quarter tires have that one big slide and mistake off of 2. Can he clean that up here on this restart? That'll be the huge question, but just love that interview there from Trent Jump, the enthusiasm. And it even, you know, I think some drivers coming into this race might have even thought it was going to be tougher to race around each other than what it's been, because it seems like they're very much enjoying it out there here in Japan and making the most of this definitely opportunity to race around, you know, one of the best racetracks in the world. So this is fun to see. Let's see how Trent Jump can see to make something happen here again. And I tell you what, Nick Crawford, he's made himself a player in this race also, up to third now with how quick he looked there before the end of our stage break. I'm interested to see what we can do here on this restart to see how we can jumble up this field once again, because we know how they do it here on Monday nights. It's always wild down to the checkered flag.
And also other drivers to take note on. Danny Cochran back in 15th, Cedric Hunter back in 17th. Both drivers had to drop to the back for 2 separate reasons. For Danny, it was damage. Cedric, just a bad restart. Both of them hoping to move forward as quickly as they can. Stage racing is done, ladies and gentlemen. It is all about taking it to the end. And these drivers have to think about pit stops. They got to think about their tires. And they have also got to make sure they get a good launch as we are back to green flag racing.
Great launch there from Mark Whitley. Just like he had out of his pit box, he's able to clear that 46 machine and have the preferred lane here down into 1 and 2 and able to open up that corner to get the best run. But here is the mayhem. It's Cody Reed battling his teammate in the 00, Ethan Smith. You got Malik Kuntz and also the 24 Ali Fonseca. But up front, the 46 Trenton Jump, he had his first mistake of the race. He got loose, and now this is allowing Nick Crawford to make the move for second.
Nick Crawford, easy breezy to the inside. You look back to this battle, and the main reason why these drivers are so stacked up on one another over the radio, apologies, over from that of the 00 of Ethan Smith. It sounded like he was in the wrong gear on that restart, and it checked everyone up. And now the 00 trying to reset, go after and attack Cody Reed, as Reed, John Forbes, teammates of that of Ethan Smith from Blackjack Racing, they are on the move, and as well on the move, Danny Cochran from 15th up to 13th, trying to make the pressure here for the 2 machine to get even further up.
Impressive rebound already from this 2 machine after just one stage break. Oh, gets a little contact there from the 30 Christopher Norris with a little bit of a helping hand down in the 3 and 4, and we'll see if he can continue to make that bottom work. And he's done a good job because that 2 machine still has a slight bit of nose damage from that incident earlier in this race, and it's even affected the splitter a little bit, so he's not going to have the best performance out of that truck. But this is just the grit from that driver to show, you know, how he's built as a champion to make his way back through this field with a little bit of damage.
Another driver going to call it a night, joining that of Jonathan Smith. It's going to be Jordan Schmeetz in the 4. Just too much damage, just too slow, and we'll call it an evening for the 4 machine. Hate to see it from the red line driver, who's going to hope that his teammates can continue on with a great run here this evening, as Danny Cochran setting up to try to crack inside of the top 10, as well as that Cedric Hunter, who is trying to find a way to go forward, as he's got a wall of that of Everett as well as Norris that are just staying where they're at. And it's just looking like patience might be the key for some of these drivers back here. And if we get into a long green flag run here, Zach, I mean, this isn't a bad thought of just settle in, save your tires, and attack going forward later on.
You're exactly right, Sam, because you're going to have one pit stop here, no doubt, down to the end of this race. You cannot run from the end of the stage to the end of this race, so you're going to have to make a pit stop, so you need to be able to make sure you pace yourself here. And if we can get some long green flag runs, we heard it from Trenton Jump. He talked about how abrasive this track was and how much damage his right front had to it. So that just shows you, if you aren't planning to save that right front and you don't manage that, you could very well be ended up in a very tough position. And that's where I think some of this passing could happen later in the race, is due to that Cedric Hunter was trying to make it happen on Travis Everett, just could not do it, as he could not get the run off the exit. That was the first time I've seen that really the outside group be the way to go for the move around somebody.
It really has been, as behind these drivers battling for 19th position. I'm going to talk about that of Austin Halsey as well as GP Rosari. 2 drivers, different storylines, as well as the weather that's on screen. This track, very cool from where it's been for most of the night, especially during practice, Zach. These drivers dealing with the coolest sensation it's been all night long. 88 degrees on the track temp. It was up to 109 during practice. And that means this track is getting hotter, getting cooler and faster every time they come around.
Speeds are picking up, grip levels picking up. Everybody's learning right here, because this track new to us all, and they're learning also what those weather conditions can do to it, because each track has this unique characteristics. When it cools off, some tracks get a little bit tighter, some get a little bit looser. So what does this track do? We'll have to see for these race car drivers. But right now, Cedric Hunter finally made the pass on Travis Everett. He's setting his sights on his teammate of Christopher Norris, who's also got that machine in front of him of the 12 of Ryan Crowfoot, Danny Cochran, Tyler Dingler up into the top 10 now. So great runs for a few of these groups. And it looks like Crowfoot was going to make a move, but the 2 covered him off and closed the door.
Covering off, trying to stay to the inside, and this is going to be the defensive plays you're going to have to set up for if you want to have a better exit out of turn number 4, and that's exactly what the 2 does. And watching out for more drivers bouncing it to the inside. That's going to be Joshua Kanata in that of the 16 machine, able to get below that of Malik Kuntz, the rookie, battling side by side to see who can be the best runner of the rookies. Is this 16 and the 98, and Kanata's kind of been, you could say, the de facto best rookie you can say of this class so far, but Malik Kuntz has shown some quality speed. As well, a driver that hasn't been up front in a consistent manner, it's the 19 of Tyler Dangler, who's up here trying to get by the 98.
Well, practice is paying off, folks. It just shows you, if you go out there and you hit practice laps, you can make up those spots that you've been lacking throughout the season as they make contact. It's going to shove the 98 up the racetrack, and he holds on to it, but now he's going to have the 2 of Danny Cochran also there. But actually, with a nice run off the exit, he's almost got back to the outside of the 19. So this battle has not stopped. And they even got Crowfoot behind that in the 12 machine. He's trying to make a move on the 2. So this is stacking up here for that 9th position.
I mean, it was an accidental bump, it looked like, by the 19, trying to get a better entry into the corner with a little bit of a wider slot, but I don't think Malik was expecting that from the 19. Contact by the two machines, and they will continue on their way, but I gotta say, fantastic save by the 98 truck, who continues to rev on. They got to be careful. Here comes that of Crowfoot Norris, side by side, the 12, trying to make this pass, and as well a driver that always is learning throughout the race. It's Cedric Hunter in the 13, trying to close in on this battle.
Cedric Hunter's been making a valiant effort to get back up here because he had a very interesting restart. He just pulled right early in this race after that second restart and just pulled out of the groove and fell all the way to the back. And don't know if something came up there for him. He does have a newborn child, so I don't know if he was hearing some noises that maybe he had to attend to, but he definitely had to do something there because he went from pretty much running in the 8th to around the 6th position to all the way to the back, but he's made a valiant effort. He's really starting to charge, and now he's going to go to the inside of Kuntz and try to get that 12th position from him. And the 98 into that wall, that really set him back. That allowed even the 38 of Christopher Norris to get around. And that 98, it just seems to be going from good to worse now for him because he had a great start in the stage, but it's now starting to flounder.
And kind of shows when you're stuck to the outside lane, it just goes so terrible. You're using up more of the rubber. You're not in the preferred lane of trying to save and conserve. And now that of Malik Kuntz, heavy damage on that right front that completely scrapes through the whole entire right side as we look back to 20th place. A very easy machine to spot. It's going to be that of Austin Halsey back from a suspension. And Zach, that's 99. Hoping to stay for the rest of the season as he was putting a little bit of practice laps in, just trying to settle in, get back into a regular occurrence racing here at this league.
Yeah, it was a tough break for him early in the season. It was up ahead of him. Some major moves there. Yeah, Justin Smith, I think he had contact between him and the 8 machine, and Noah Steele there off the exit of 4. No, and sorry, actually, a little bit of contact in the center of the corner between the 8 and the 6. Great save, though, from Justin Smith there, as now he's got the 20 of Jesse Thornton trying to go around the outside, and also he's got that 43 right there looking to his outside also.
It's going to be the 43 of Kyle Tate who's trying to make the move on the outside. It was a little bit of a tap from Noah Steele to the 6 here in the center of 3 and 4 about a lap ago, and a great drift and save by the 16, as now he'll continue by that of the 6, who's now going to worry about those rear tires. With the way that drift was very aggressive, a lot of smoke, and now he's going to worry about the long-term effects of a fantastic save for himself as we're right on board with the 43 machine of Kyle Tate back here in 21st position. Outside lanes got to be careful as you saw the 6 very close, wiggling move, and Eric Stamp has to make an abrasive move around the 6.
After that big slide from the 6, his tires are probably overheated, and the grip level there is just not going to be very nice. And almost for him getting in the back of the 53. Luckily, he's going to be able to slide down in front of the 1 machine of Michael Sheffield here, but the 6 machine having a tough time after the contact from Noah Steele really has set him back now into back around the 23rd position. This is a tough break to see for Justin Smith, who was having such a good run before the stage break.
And hoping that maybe we can just settle into a decent run as our leaders closing in is Nick Crawford on that of our front runners, and some issues further back in the field. That of going to be contact Ollie Fonseca and Ethan Smith. Smith getting the worst of it from battling with the drivers up to the top 5. Now outside of the top 10 with some major left side damage.
Oh, that's the second time those two have made contact, and it was a 4-wide moment down the back straightaway when all that happened. It was Cedric Hunter who took the advantage of most of that. He went up all the way to 7th with that move. He went around the route outside of all of them, and Ethan Smith here, like you said, caught the worst into that deal. Now he's going to have Crowfoot in the 12 behind him. Also Danny Cochran. This is terrible sights to see there for the 00, who's trying to make the trying to hold back that 24 machine.
It's showing when you get a driver below you that gets extremely tight off the exit of the corner, you might get the brunt of it. Usually it's the opposite. Exit of the corner, driver gets loose and comes down on you, and tonight it is going to be Ethan Smith who's been getting the short end of the stick, as it's going to be seeing Danny Cochran sending it down low, setting up, trying to get by that Crowfoot, and now these battlings for who's going to be inside of the top 10 as we're 72 laps into this race. A bad, sad moment to see there from that of Ethan Smith, but for us up at the booth, we're going to step aside. You won't miss a thing as we are getting ourselves situated and ready for the final dash. Drivers trying to prepare for when they need to come into pit road. And it certainly has been a good one here tonight as you've been watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series racing here in Japan, International Racing for the Larry Art Productions 225. And you won't miss the things we go side by side here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll see you on the other side. We are under that of a yellow flag currently, and as we're getting ourselves situated, got to give big thanks to that of the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series with all their amazing sponsors that they have as drivers getting themselves into pit road. Big sponsor to thank, the title sponsor, Race Car Graveyard. Big thank you to them as they've been the title sponsor of the ISRC Truck Series since day one. It's been a pleasure to have them with us, as well as the Laugh Lap. The Laugh Lap's our stage sponsor, and they also were qualifying results sponsor last season. And the sponsor of this race and plenty of other races to come, it's Larry Art Productions. Larry Art Productions, great variety and comedy videos on YouTube. Go check them out today, and as well, all their social medias. As drivers all into pit road, getting themselves serviced, it's going to be Zachary Peterson staying out. We'll see if he's just staying out for that of just for that of the points of leading a lap. As drivers have the race out of pit road, it's going to be that of Nick Crawford, Trent Jump beating out that of Mark Whitley. But we're going to see if we can get ourselves an instant replay on what brought out our fifth caution of the day and our fourth on-track incident to bring out a yellow. As the drivers were being very aggressive at this time, Zach, it was an interesting moment because they were thinking about, we were about halfway through our yellow as this is what brought out the caution.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what happened here. It was the 24 and the 13 battle, and the 13 had just got around him, and 24 just a little too deep through the center corner up the racetrack a little bit too. That could have caused his speed not to be as high as he wanted to be, and that right there will cause you to go around just like that. And I think for his sake, luckily nothing hits nothing else. But man, oh man, that's gonna be tough because he was looking very, very strong here, folks, and the way he worked his way up from really all the way back from last to the top 5 almost right there. So he's probably going to be not very happy with that moment, but that's just racing sometimes. You know, Fonseca just got in there a little bit too deep, and that's what happens. So tough break for that, and then another tough break while we hit pit road there. Mark Whitley, he's had to go to the rear of the field.
And I believe it was an issue getting out of his box. He was caught with having, I believe, speeding, which gave him an EOL to the end of the line for the 77. He was going to be around 4th or 5th once he got out there on track. But no, he'll go directly to the end of the line. And as well, Zachary Peterson, a very interesting call here by the 96, Zach. He deciding to stay out. He's going to be on 27 lap old tires compared to the rest of the field, which you've kind of noted on. Everyone should be good from here to the end of this race on fuel.
That they should be. It's completely fine to make it all the way down. There's no problem with fuel. So right now it's just going to be all about the tires and just how you're going to manage this. And Zachary Peterson here with his tires, he's going to be in big, big trouble here, Sam.
He certainly is going to be. As we look at our wall of drivers, we did have 4. The driver we're missing is going to be the 4 of Jordan Schmitz, who got out of this race earlier than he would have liked. But the other drivers that are here left on our wall of drivers going to be that of on from left to right. Going to see that 43 of Kyle Tate. Jonathan Kanata going to be the driver with the VR from that of our second to left. And all the way to the right side, it's going to be Christopher Norris, who was on the VR system, now on the triple monitors. Here's Zach. 3 different styles of how to race on iRacing, and all the drivers trying their best here tonight.
I think this is the beautiful thing about iRacing is how different everybody's setup and rig is. I mean, it completely is everything customizable to how you would like it. I mean, some of these things are very, very expensive, so some of us, you know, probably don't have everything we want. But I tell you what, great looking setups there from these guys, and it's gonna be fun to see how they can try to make the most out of those setups here tonight at Motegi. Just been a really great race so far. I tell you, I've been thoroughly impressed with this racetrack. You know, I kind of worried about how the passing would be here, you know, compared to somewhere like Darlington where passing is at a very much a premium. These drivers have made it, and sometimes, in my opinion, look almost pretty easy actually to get some passes done. So this has been fun, and we'll see how this next restart goes because we got those old tires up front. That's going to change the whole playbook.
How are drivers on the inside gonna be able to react with that of Zachary Peterson? Will there be wheel spin, or can the driver survive? Pace car is off, green flag is out of the air, and it's the 96, an actual decent start from the old tires as he moves straight up to try to get to the outside lane, blocking off that of Nick Crawford. But for how long can the 96 hold this position? Not for long. Let's go too wide as Trent Jump is taking off.
Stuck behind that 96 is Nick Crawford. Now it's going to be 3 wide for him with Joshua Kanata off the exit of 2. The 74 here, not the greatest restart from him, but I tell you what, even this field spreading out even farther back there at about 4, almost 5 wide.
Oh, Danny Cochran up front. They're going to be 3 wide back here, almost 4 wide, almost 5 wide back there, battling for the middle of the pack. They're just drivers trying to get into the front half of the field. They're not going to be able to. Caution flags flies, and it's the 91 and the 39 caught up in this one.
Wow, what a crazy restart there, folks. We did have 5 wide for a moment there, down into 3. It was intense, and it was just all behind that action that was 3 wide around Martin Morales, Mark Whitley, the 39, and of Joshua Freed here. You're going to see Martin Morales right there in that middle groove. And again, that middle groove seems so tough to hold. It just washes up the racetrack there into that 39, who was just another innocent bystander on this incident with the same one. And here comes Mark Whitley, who's just going to scave by in the 77 as he's going to be feeling lucky after that one.
Also going to be seeing that of the 28 of Gilliam's getting a little bit contact for that of the 28. and drivers sliding their way through. But Gilliam's able to get on through. Same for Tyler Horn. And that is just what should have been probably a 5-6 truck incident. Just simply 2 involved in that.
What a wild scenes here at Motegi, just showing that when the lanes open up, you go for things as, I mean, it was 4 wide, almost 5 wide, and multiple cases of 4 wide personally. So we've seen the opportunities available to these drivers, and it's going to be cool to see who can make the most of them. But Trenton Jump, he's had excellent restarts. John Forbes is able to get himself up to 3rd now with the excellent restart. But I think Nick Crawford, he's probably liking that caution too, because this will allow him to start 3rd in that bottom groove. And it seems like that 3rd place position has been pretty optimal so far for these starts. So I think he's going to like that position if he can try to get past this 11, because the 74, even before we had that caution during our commercial break, he was hounding the back bumper of the 77 of Mark Whitley. If that 74 can get to the lead, Nick Crawford might be the driver to beat here tonight.
And especially with the fact that the 77 of Mark Whitley, who's looked like one of the best drivers out there if he can get up front, is mired back in 27th position. There's a lot of time that can be caught up. And you know, this race is starting to trickle away for some of these drivers. We're 83 laps in. I know that the laps were cut down due to the fact that this lap, how long these laps are, 36 seconds is the fastest these drivers get around here. And they're starting to notice, hey, you've got to be on your game and hope that you get some green flag racing if you want to move up. So Mark's in a tough position, but the drivers up front certainly are feeling a lot more comfortable, confident. And Zach, if we've been looking at the ways that this season has been, we've had 4 races so far this season, 4 different winners. And if we look at those that are up front, it's only going to be that of the 2 of we're actually take that back. It's going to be the 11 of John Forbes, who looks to be the only driver, and as well as Cody Reed, that have found themselves in a victory lane this season. They're trying to become the first multi-time winners of the year. Could they get it done with the aggressive driving I'm seeing by the 2? I think he might be someone to watch out for.
He made a very aggressive move. You're definitely right about that. He made it stick, though, and he's come back from the damage he's incurred from that early race incident where he got loose trying to go for the lead, actually, on Trenton Jump himself. So we'll see, can he come back from those mistakes and make the most of it right here, or does it plague him down to the end? Because that move right there allowed him to get a good bit of the track position. He's got back. He's going to be on the preferred groove, in my opinion, on that bottom groove for this restart. So that's going to allow him with some ample opportunities to go up here and have a chance for another victory. But I tell you, I think we see another winner here tonight. I don't think we see a multi-time winner. I think somebody who hasn't won yet here this season is going to go out here and get the victory. It just seems to be playing out that way. And especially as these laps start to click down, we're getting more of those players who haven't won right up in the mix.
We're about to get ourselves to the 1 to go marker. And, you know, I kind of want to get his thoughts on how this run is going. And we're actually going to pull in the number 2 machine of Danny Cochran, who we've seen have some aggressive moves. Let's see how the 2 is feeling. Danny, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
I got y'all.
Well, Danny, we've been seeing you make some pretty brave moves, forcing it 3 wide through the field to get yourself up here in the top 5. Man, how are you feeling coming into this restart as the laps are ticking away and we only got 40 left?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm just kind of counting on a caution, or a lot of cautions here. We're good on fuel, looks like, so I'm not worried about that. Honestly, if I can get this hunk of junk into the top 5 and keep it here, then I call it a pretty good night after I ran out of talent early on. So if I can just hold what I got, I'm going to be pretty happy. But yeah, I mean, you got to make some brave moves getting through the field. And it's just, you got to know who you can do it with, guys that you can trust, guys that I've raced with around a while. But yeah, when we don't know how long your run's going to be, you have to move fast. So I'm feeling pretty good, though, about these last 40 laps.
Well, Danny, it looks like we're close to the restart. Best of luck to you, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Good luck, Danny. As that is Larson Line, driver of the 2, Danny Cochran, getting ready. We usually would do another question, Zach. I know that these restarts are pretty quick, so I know we're kind of trying to juggle. Hey, let's get some driver interviews and also allow them to get some mentally prepared for these restarts. As up front, Trenton Jump, John Forbes, also going to be seeing the 74 of Nick Crawford, Joshua Kanata, Danny Cochran here, top 5. As we have got ourselves 40 laps to go, as it's already going to be Trenton Jump taking off immediately. He's got over that of a 3, almost a 4 trunk plate lead over the rest of the field.
I like that call by him to also take the outside groove. That didn't allow Nick Crawford in the 74, who's been very quick here tonight, to have that preferred line to start behind the leader. He got log jammed up behind the 11. Now he gets loose on the inside of the 16. This is going to allow the 25 to go around him, and Nick Crawford losing spots quickly. Is even Danny Cochran going to dive to his inside down to 3 and 4?
Gotta make big moves. If you're gonna make them, you gotta make them at this time. Cody Reed gonna be trying to get underneath that of Kanata, watching drivers to the outside. That's Malik Coates with a blown engine for the 98. Just hit the wall wrong on that of the entry of turns 3 and 4, and his night is done for that of the 98 machine, and Malik's bad luck continues.
That was a chain reaction event. It was the 8 of Noah Steele getting into the 14 GT Rosario, which sent him up into the 98 of Malik Kuntz, who had nowhere to go there on that restart. And that's a tough break. After getting stage points, it's going to quickly come to an end, and it's starting to pile up for him this season in the 98. It's had great speed, just hasn't had the finishes to go along with it, and it continues again here tonight in Japan.
As drivers up front trying to just pull away, but it's everyone from around that 10th on back starting to train how they want to get through this field, and some drivers are getting aggressive on how they want to make some passes. Cedric Hunter going to be diving with a very shallow entry, but makes the 13th stick as Tyler Dangler's going to drift up, does a little bit of a double block on that of going to be Zachary Peterson, who's still on about 26 lap old tires than the rest of the field. Is that the 96? As Noah Steele, also Everett going to be right on top of one another. That's going to be Crowfoot and also that Noah Steele side by side with one another, but they're wrecking behind. It's Kyle Tate who's going around.
It just seems like 3 and 4 is the corner where things happen so quickly as Kyle beats 8, like you said, goes around, and that was contact from the 77 of Mark Whitley, who's been trying to drive his way through the field, maybe just got a little bit too over aggressive, and to that 43 machine here to bring out this yellow. And 7th one of the night, 6-1-4 actual incident. And I tell you, this is a tough break for the 43, who was having a decent run there inside that top 20, and just not what he wanted to play out here. Is luckily not going to hit anything after he does get turned here. As you see Mark Willie just with such a head of steam.
Back.
Yeah.
There's no way that Kyle Tate could have predicted that Mark Whitley was going to dive there. I mean, he was so far back and just sent it into the corner. Well, Kyle probably was doing a traditional, just, diamonding corner, trying to go a little bit higher at the apex and cut down. And that does not work when you have a driver as the likes of Mark Whitley, who has talked about this in past, during the playoffs of last season, about the fact that he feels like one of his biggest weaknesses is his patience. When he gets stuck in traffic, he drives aggressive and sometimes overdrives, puts himself in danger as well as other drivers in danger. And the 77, he's moved his way forward, but at what cost? There's a lot of damage starting to build up on Mark Whitley's machine.
Completely agree, Sam. I think sometimes it just gets a little bit too over his head. I mean, he's got so much speed in that 77 machine, but if you can't use all that speed if you're going to be hitting people, I mean, it's a tough thing to see, especially for drivers who get involved in it. But yeah, Mark Whitley going for it there. I mean, he probably didn't even expect to get to the 43's inside. It was just probably a little bit too overzealous and just trying to go for a little bit too much there to clear that 14, when all he really needed to do was clear the 14 and then try to set that 43 up for a next move. So tough ordeal there for that group, but he's up to 18th for the 77, so don't count him out of getting up here into the mix by the end of this race, because we're starting to have a little bit more cautions flare up here every now and then. That's allowing drivers to get some positions that they did not have before and time to get stuff done. So we'll see how that works out, but it does seem like 3 and 4 to me has been the calamity corner. With it being a downshift corner, you got to downshift into another gear and slow that truck up so much. Some of these drivers going in with so much more speed than some of these other drivers. It's really leading to some incidents.
And also, Zach, something to touch on, tires. Drivers are left right now, majority of the field, with just one set left. And with the laps ticking away, the question is going to start to mount up. If we get a caution that's within 25, that of 20 laps to go, do you come into pit road or stay with that of the track position? Because for our leaders, if sixth on back all decide as a group, let's all come in for tires, that's going to put everyone else up front in such a back foot. this is going to be the questioning of when do you want to take that last set of tires? Because I'm imagining everyone might be thinking about, I want to just take it.
You're exactly right, Sam. I think if we get another quick yellow here within 5 to 10 laps here, I think you're going to see a busy pit road, but it's going to be a mixed bag of strategies on pit road. You're going to see some drivers up front maybe stay out trying to save the tires for a last-ditch effort, where some of these drivers in the back are going to be they're just going for it pretty much. They're going to be putting the tires on saying, well, if now we get another yellow here later in this race, hopefully the drivers in front of me will pit. I'll gain the track position that way, and then we'll try to hold them off to the end. So there's so many different ways to play this out, but with one set of tires, your brain is spinning here if you're sitting in this truck saying, what do I do if we get another yellow? What lap do I commit? What lap do I say is too early? It's always such a tough call to make, because you know that if you don't make the right call, it could be the difference between finishing in the win position or finishing outside even the top 10.
As pace car lights are about to come off and get these trucks ready to get revving for action. We do have one sponsor for ourselves to shout out, and it's ourselves. If you like us, wanting to help us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we've got our own merch line that we would love to shout out. We've got plenty of different shirts and hoodies for you to be checking out here today, as Store Frontier going to be one of the best places to go. Again, different colors, different sizes to make sure it fits your needs. And if you want to help support us at the broadcast team, besides just watching and sharing the broadcast, this is the best financial way to support us as a group.
That it really is, Sam. It's such a cool thing to see our merchandise there with people out there rocking it and wearing it and loving it. So it's a pleasure to have people come and put aboard the Freaky Fast family by getting themselves some of that nice merch, and it's so comfortable and so good for for the prices that it's sent out for. So thank you again to Store Frontier that we get those through. They do a great job with the quality there. But looks like we're ready to go. Once again, Trenton Jump, he's electing to pull the outside groove here. I think that's interesting because that allows them to race for that second position side by side, and I think that allows him to just have that much more breathing room.
Also, it's kind of difficult to judge when these drivers are going to take off because of how quick the restart zone is when the pace car pulls off. You almost got to be instant at it. Pace car is off, green flag in the air, and Trent Jump. Not as aggressive of a restart. Certainly a much better one than you could ask for. We're almost already 3 wide. We are 3 wide for second place. Kanada's not waiting for anything. 3 wide through 1 and 2. The 16 going to be having the assistance from the 74 off the exit of the corner. Still 3 wide for second place. Trent Jump pulling away. And Joshua Kanada, John Forbes, it is a mad dash down into turn number 3.
That it is. What a crazy scene of events. Somehow John Forbes holds on to that position, but down into 3 and 4. This the 74 all stacked up behind the 16 as the 16 is trying to focus on getting by the 25, but also the 2 of Danny Cochran. He's going to possibly look to the inside of Nick Crawford here. This is all starting to happen here late in this race. Drivers just using any little bit of grip they have left. As Nick Crawford here, we hop on board with him. He's all over the back bumper of the 16s. He's going to try to follow him through on the 25.
Crawford is trying to stay in the tire tracks of Joshua Kanada. Kanada able to clear, move high. The drafting assistant's going to allow Cody Reed to just sneak ahead into turn number 3. But now is the big moves. You've got to be making the surge forward as you see that Nick Crawford trying to slide in front of the 25. Will be able to do so. And now it's Danny Cochran's turn to try to get by that of Cody Reed. And behind them, 2 drivers that are alliances usually, but have been kind of enemies between one another. It's Ali Fonseca, Ethan Smith. Will they have a round 3 of contact around one another?
Very, very possible. We see those two have those 2 moments. Like you said, could round 3 be right around the next corner? We'll have to see. As he even got Travis Everett in the 9 machine, he's up tonight. And Cedric Hunter, he's made his return to the top 10. As you see Mark Whitley here, he's trying to make his way to the top 15 here as he's right behind Brakey for 14.
And out of Logan Brakey, he's already gotten his win this season, booking his ticket to the playoffs, hoping to hold off Mark Whitley, who won the week after Logan Brakey at Chicagoland. The last mile-and-a-half race won was by the 77, who's hoping to move his way forward. And here's GT Rosario as well, looking in the battling of that of Tyler Dengler, Eric Stamp, 2 drivers that at one moment were up front. now are just floundering in the middle of this pack as they're seeing all the aggressive moves. And as the field continues to rage on, it's 30 to go, about to be 29 to go for tonight's race. You need to put the pressure on, and that of Crowfoot keeping Mark Whitley to the outside. They've got to be careful as Noah still gets wiggly at turn number 4.
Wild moments there. I tell you what, even Mark Whitley, he made some contact to Logan Brakey. Luckily, he backed out of it soon enough to where nothing happened major. And there goes the 8 up the racetrack. Now Mark Whitley to his inside in the 77. He's trying to continue his progress forward, but has been kind of held up by the drivers ahead of him and kind of made the wrong call going down in the 3 and 4 last time and lost a position or two. Now going to have the preferred lane here going down in the 3 and 4. And he's got the 53 Eric Sam trying to follow him through, but he's got Crowfoot in the 12 directly ahead trying to battle Logan Brakey. So battles all around this 1.5 mile racetrack as Mark Whitley drifting out of 4.
He's drifting, he's holding on, but that's just heating up the tires. We've talked about that with other drivers. You heat up the rear ends, it makes the next 2 to 3 laps so difficult to hold on to that rear end. It can get even more loose as you get onto the throttle once again. Mark Whitley going to be the driver of note to watch out for the exit of turn 4. Will he have the same slide, or can he hold on to the momentum as that of Crowfoot trying to be the battering ram to continue to push forward for the 77?
That he is. He just makes a nice clean pass on Logan Brakey ahead, but Brakey tries to get back to the quarter panel, close the door on the 77, but just not enough time there as he's going to hope the draft down this front straightaway will allow that 29 to hold for position, but the side draft from the 77 keeps him in bay and able to make a move down here to the inside. Mark Whitley trying to go for 14th here as he's trying to recover from a pit road mistake.
It's been that of Crowfoot. It's been Mark Whitley moving forward. The rest of the field's been pretty much staying in line for everyone inside of our top 10. And everyone else behind these drivers, they're battling just as hard for each and every position. I know even for last place, they're battling pretty aggressive with one another, finally single filing out back there. But Zach, it's starting to click away. I think the drivers are starting to recognize the laps are dwindling. But of note, Trent Jump has pulled up to about a full second ahead of John Forbes, but Forbes is keeping the distance pretty equal. Curious for the 11, or even for that of Nick Crawford. Are they saving tires to run down this 46 in those final 15 laps?
It is very, very possible, Sam. I tell you what, we're going to have a fun time getting to see it, but Nick Crawford, he's going to, if he wants a chance at it, he's got to get by the 11. He can't save too much because if you get stuck behind the 11 when he tries to go up there and charge for it, it's going to be an even harder pass. So sometimes you got to go for it a little bit earlier, get the track position, then once you get in front of him, save. It's kind of one of those, trying to play the game of saving, but trying to get track position, and that is always the key to making things happen. But Nick Crawford here, good exit off of 2. That's what he's been able to do. He's exit lower than most drivers, and he's got that good drive down the back straightaway. Just not close enough this time, but if he keeps putting the pressure on this 11, it's going to open up opportunities. The 11 a little loose into the entry with the downshift.
And it seems for that of John Forbes has been the exit of turn 2, where he's been very much washing up closer to that outside wall. That's where the mistakes have been. He's trying to maximize his speed, but at the same time, if you get too close to that outside wall, you're really going to have to back out. As we see the center of the corner, there's our leader. There's the battle for second, and the rest of the field thundering down through 1 and 2. They're all trying to keep momentum, but here is the danger zone. Exit of turn 2. Tires, drivers trying to hold on as the rest of the field trying to hit the backstretch.
Motegi has not disappointed here, folks. It's been an excellent race, all 102 laps so far, but these final 25 here are going to be where the money is paid out, where the points are given, and how you make it into these positions is going to be so critical. As you can see, everybody's so stacked up all throughout the field, all the way back to the 21st position of Michael Sheffield. The field's only separated by 7 seconds.
They're only separated by that 7 seconds for those that are up there in the top 20. And honestly, you look through even deeper through the field, a lot of the drivers even keeping up with pretty decent pace, even for those that are back in 33rd position, as they continue to rage on. We are keeping up with some good speed, but drivers having issues on that backstretch. It's the 96, Zachary Peterson in 29th place. He gets very low, slow, hard contact at the exit of turn 2. Keeps it straight, so no yellow flag comes out. But they've got to be careful, because if we see more incidences like that back here, in the next 5 laps, we could be seeing it up front.
We very well could be, Sam, as now you're going to see another battle farther back in the field. 96 gets past there, and that's going to lose him the position to that 18 of Stephen Baldwin. But here's the 91 of Martin Morales. He's got the 5 of Dakota Winese right behind him. Tough nights for this group here back in 26th and 27th, but you never know with how wild this race has been so far. We could have some moments that allow them to get some free positions farther up through the field. But at the moment, Trenton Jump is starting to get rained down just a tiny bit by the second and third position of Nick Crawford and John Forbes. They've been a couple hundredths faster the last 2 laps, but it's just not enough. Trenton Jump has done a good job once he's got out there to kind of pace himself and keep a good steady distance of about a second here as we ride on board Forbes.
And as we continue to watch this on Forbes, going to get his sense of how he's tackling the entry of turn 3. Nick Crawford just throws it even deeper into the corner. The 74 trying to make the pass here on the exit of turn 4. Back into the throttle is Nick Crawford. And Zach, you touched on trying to make this pass as soon as possible. It's now 20 to go as Nick Crawford takes second place. But here comes John Forbes fighting right on back, but just does not have the grip to tackle that position.
He did not have it, like you said, Sam. That was a good look, trying to make probably Nick Crawford overdrive that entry of the corner, but Nick Crawford just had the grip level, got it down, and now he's going to try to set sail and see if he has a shot to go up here and challenge for this lead position. This is going to be so fun to see. We've seen some decent runs here tonight, but nothing too long. We'll see how those tires fare here as this Kanata in the 16 starting to close up. Even Cody Reed, our winner at Watkins Glen, he's starting to close up in the 25 as this is all starting to stack up here from third on back.
You look at the data on that of first, second, and third, just seeing where the drivers are gaining and losing time. It's been that of Trenton Jump, who's been consistently faster as the last 2 laps has been Nick Crawford and John Forbes battling between one another. This upcoming lap is probably going to be the truest test of where the speed difference is. Is it on Trenton Jump's side or is it on Nick Crawford's side? Because if we look back to the end of the stage, coming to the end of that lap 50, Nick Crawford, Mark Whitley, they were closing in on Trenton Jump, who was up front and won the stage, and that was on about 28 old lap tires. We're now 30 laps of old tires ran here. About that, I would say maybe 20 of those laps have been under green flag conditions. Starting to see that switch of Nick Crawford closing in. You see the green marker, it goes to that of the 74. Zach, it's on. It's the run to the leader. Can Nick Crawford catch him in time?
He's closed down even a little bit more this lap even. I think next time by we'll see how much he's closing that gap. And again, it's showing that that's where the speed is at in the 74s as this run goes on. Had a little bit of a mistake in 3 and 4 there. And I think that's going to show up, but still over a 10th and a half faster than Trenton Jump that last time by. If he can continue that style of catching up, he will be there and able to battle for this win when we come down to the end of this race.
And also want to give an update for that Ryan Crowfoot, Mark Whitley. Both of those drivers have been on the move as a pair, and they're now going to be seeing Crowfoot up to 10th, Mark Whitley up to 11th as we continue to watch the gap shrink. And that last lap was a major gain. This upcoming one, it's close to almost a second difference between the two as the laps continue to tick off. And it continues at this rate, Zach. It is going to be just that, and Nick Crawford gaining the bumper with about 3 laps to go. And it's going to make things a lot spicier at the end of this race.
That it really will. Every time he closes in more too, Trenton Jump has got to feel that much more nervous. That's the one thing as a driver. When you start to see that relative gap number between you and that driver start to drop down, you get a little bit more prone to making mistakes. So we'll see if that continues to happen as he gets closer and closer. But here's the 19 of Tyler Dingler. He's trying to make his way forward here and up to the 14th position he will go after he passes Travis Everett there. So good steady run here from Tyler Dingler all night long, keep it inside that top 15.
I mean, pretty steady for himself in that the 19 machine, trying to close in and maybe get a top 10 finish for himself as the battling up front. Again, seeing some action as there's going to be the 1 machine of Sheffield making the pass over that of Noah Steele for 19th position, pushing the 8 back to 20th. Noah Steele, this has not been a good run for himself as you see a puff of smoke. That's going to be from the 9 machine. Travis Everett falling back quickly, getting to the outside wall. And that's another factor to watch out for as this run continues on. Who has the grip for the exit of the corners, or will they just slide up into that outside wall?
That wall is looming big time here late in this run as the tires are getting older and older. Drivers are starting to find out that they don't want to just grip up the way they did before. As we look to Cedric Hunter in the 13, he's been kind of stuck behind this 00 Ethan Smith here as he's trying to make his way into the top 7. And you look at the nose of that truck, it's destroyed. And if you remember, he had some contact with Ali Fonseca, what spun him around. Well, when he passed Ali Fonseca about 15, 20 laps ago, he pretty much moved that 24 well out the groove, and I think that destroyed any chance of his downforce because it's just center punched right in the nose, right where the splitter's at. That's going to take away a lot of speed and a lot of grip from that 13 who's been kind of stuck in this position ever since, and he can't look too far. The 24 is even not that far behind him.
Yeah, he really isn't. He is trying to close in ever so slightly. Is that 24 machine as drivers up front, Trenton Jump able to equal out. He actually was faster that last lap than Nick Crawford. Crawford's starting to stall out right now, Zach, and for Trenton Jump, I mean, what a win this could be. If he could get this thing done, he's only gotten one win in his ISRC career, and it was back at Watkins Glen in his rookie year, season 2, where he won the championship, the 46. He's had plenty of opportunities. He feels like he's had wins stolen from him with controversy. He's been caught up in wrecks, intentionally wrecked from some races where he was dominating. And here tonight, he's gonna hope that this race could stay green as we're coming to 11 to go. But Trenton Jump is just hoping to finally get this monkey off his back and finally win in an oval where he has looked so strong in previous races.
It would be crazy to say that he got his second win ever here at the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, because what a long drought it's been for him ever since that first win at Watkins Glen so long ago, only the second race of the start of his championship season. He was so consistent even that season, but now is his opportunity. He wants to win on an oval. This will be a huge moment for his season and a turning point, even because if he the way he came off of Watkins Glen with that great run there, this is his chance and opportunity to seal the deal and get that first victory of this season.
And then you look at Nick Crawford. I mean, he's only gotten one win so far in his ISRC Truck Series career, and that was back at Bristol for himself, where he kind of snuck away with the win that so many other drivers thought it was going to be his crown to take. And so these front two drivers, two that are hoping for their first wins, I mean, their second wins of their ISRC careers for themselves. 10 laps to go. So the closest battling on track is for this a fourth place. Kanata, Cody Reed, drivers that are looking to finish up in the top 5, and they got to be careful because some other drivers behind them are starting to try to close in, such as Danny Cochran, also that of Ethan Smith. They're looking fast back there.
Ethan Smith here trying to go forward in the late closing stages of this race. Kind of got pinballed out of the way earlier. Now I'm going to take the 6th position from Danny Cochran, who's still struggling with that damage as the run continues on. But Cedric Hunter with the damage too. He has a big run down the back straightaway, and he's going to have an opportunity to go to the inside of the 2 now. Down into 3 and 4. He's looking to get up into the top 7.
Might have that front end damage, but it's just not going to affect him going down into the corner where you're trying to outbrake the driver to your outside. Yellow flag strikes, and it's the 77 of Mark Whitley that brings it out, and this changes everything.
Oh no, what a sight there is. I think it might have been a little bit of contact between him and the 38 of Christopher Norris. I'm not sure what got him that far back. I'm not sure if the struggle really set in because he was starting to run about a 38 flat, which these drivers were falling off to a very, very slow speed. And I'm not sure if the 38 was just getting quicker and he felt like he could go to the inside there. But man, oh man, you're going to see here down the back straightaway, Mark Whitley just looking to cover off the move from the 38, and pretty much just kind of a similar situation, just a worse situation though, but the speed being carried there that just ended up ending his night.
That was a bizarre incident to see. I know from other positions over the radio, and Christopher Norris felt like he had the positioning to go for the move, but felt like the move down by that at 77 Mark Whitley. And we're right on the fact that this looks pretty similar to the Kyle Tate Mark Whitley incident. A lot closer was that of the 38 that tried to go down low. I think a little bit of a more wide arcing pass, and Mark Whitley just was not expecting that move, came down into the 38. The 38, I think, might have been carrying a little bit too much speed, where I don't even think he was going to make that corner, and used up Mark Whitley at the same fashion. It was just two drivers not expecting one another to go for the same real estate, and a major carnage given to Mark Whitley.
Carnage indeed here, Sam, and let's see what happens and what plays out now with the incidents here as they're going to be coming to pit road. Who's going to win the race off? It's going to be the key. There's two tire changes galore. John Forbes, Ethan Smith, Ali Fonseca, Danny Cochran. They all pull it out the bag. Two tire stops to jump them way up, including Eric Stamp.
It is about that of 6 drivers all taking 2 tires. And like I said, John Forbes, Ethan Smith, Ali Fonseca, Danny Cochran, and Eric Stamp, as well as that of GT Irizarry. The 6 drivers decided to take that of 2 tires on this go. And Zach, I like the call to change things up. It pushes that of Eric Stamp deeper in the field. Same for Nick Crawford. But with how loose these trucks are at the start of these runs, this is a very dangerous risk, but they can take some great reward if they can handle it.
Well, with the group of drivers that have done it, this is a little bit of an alliance that we speak about all the time between the 11, the 00, the 24, and the 2. So I think this has been well thought out by all of them. They have planned this out. They know if coming down to the end of this race, they felt like this was their opportunity to make up some ground here under pit road. They must feel very confident, and John Forbes is going to look to go get his 2nd win of the season, but he's going to have his teammate who knows this could be his opportunity to lock himself in the playoffs in that 00. What goes down here, it's going to be so fun to watch.
I mean, Zach, we think about the history of taking 2 tires. Ethan Smith, he found himself getting a lot of his wins based off of 2-tire strategy calls by this 00. At one moment was coined the king of 2 tires. Will he find the same magic that he's had in previous seasons? Usually it's been at the concrete courses, but tonight that 00 is going to need something magical if he's going to make this work. And the first of the drivers that have 4 fresh tires, Trent Jump, back in 5th place. He's going to be starting on that inside lane, 3rd truck back. If you're at this point, again, you've been dealing with a loose truck when you take 4 fresh tires. And Zach, when you take just 2 tires, how is that going to affect this loose sensation that drivers were going to handle either way?
Well, in simple terms, it's going to make it worse. Those right side tires are going to be nice and cold. Yeah, the left sides will be nice and warm, so you will get a little bit, sometimes better drive off with that left rear tire gripping up and being a little bit more worn and heated up. But in my opinion, with those left sides not wanting to grip and turn, you're going to have to really want to make that truck turn. You're probably going to put a little bit more wheel into it. It could possibly make these over rotation very, very likely to happen. So I would not be surprised to see one of these 4 trucks, or even the 5th truck of Eric Stamp, maybe have a major moment coming off one of these exits, because this is unexplored territory. Maybe they've practiced this. These guys put in tons of practice laps, and I'm sure this has gone through their minds of what could be the opportunities if this comes down to an end of a race restart like this. But can they hold on for long enough is the question. What's the grip level going to be like? Can they hold on to the rear ends is going to be, I think, the number one question. But can Trenton Jump get the jump that he needs on this restart to go up there and challenge them? So we'll see how it works out. He's back in 5th in that 46 on the first set of 4 tires. Or do we have calamity here on this restart with the 2?
Well, I want to first start off by saying thank you to everyone that's been joining us on your Monday night watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. This is only race number 5 of the regular season for the 4th season of this crew. They decided to change things up. They went international here to Twin Ring Motegi in Japan. And for the Larry Art Productions 225, pace car is off. And with that of 5 laps to go, let's get back to green flag racing. It's side by side for that of 2nd place, but John Forbes feeling good. 4 to go. Will the 2 tires hold on? Let's find out as they slide down into turn number 1. They're almost 4 wide back for 5th place. Ali Fonseca sliding, wrecking. Yellow flag is out.
Oh man, this changes everything. Trenton Jump up to 4th now after the contact between him and Fonseca. and we're going to have a green-white checker here most likely. I think that gives the 2 tires a better opportunity, but it will cool down those left sides even more. That'll help them with the grip, but it's going to cool down the right sides even more also. So this is going to be a tricky situation here, folks. Eric Stamp there and taking 2 tires. His engine's blown, and that's going to be a night ender for him.
Got bounced up into that outside wall, and he immediately will pull it into pit road. Frustration for Eric Stamp as his night is done. Oli Fonseca going to be able to move down to that at 12th place for the 24 at the timing of this yellow coming out to hold that position. But Zach, with it being 4 laps to go and the yellow flag came out, I believe this will be sending us into overtime for John Forbes, Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran. They are still on those 2 tires. GT Rossari is also still on 2 tires. Oli Fonseca is falling back to 12th. Old tires but have been slid and used up. Rest of the field, 4 freshies and ready to get rolling.
What a crazy situation this has been, folks. I mean, you can see it here. Look at the working of the wheel right now, trying to get the heat into those tires here. That's going to be critical for this restart. You got to have a good one. If you're Trenton Jump, you're up to 4th. And are you John Forbes? Are you going to restart on that top side again to allow Trenton Jump to restart behind you, because that gives him a good jump off into the corner. And with the 4 tires compared to the 2 tires, that outside groove may be able to work. But the one opportunity that all these drivers have is there's 3 attempts possible here at Green White Checkered. So if we get into a little bit of fisticuffs, we could see this continue to go on for 2 more restarts after this one.
As if you haven't shared it already, let's share the stream, like, as well as comment on what you are thinking about here at this moment. Do you think that the 2 tires are going to hold on, or do you think someone who's taken 4 will take the win? And as well, let's make sure that we've got all eyes set on, if you haven't already shouted them out, who do you think is going to win? As John Forbes, Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, your top 3 are on 2 tires. That is GT Rossari, Oli Fonseca, as well as deeper in the field is going to be Dakota Moniz taking 2 tires. Rest of the field on 4 fresh tires as we are in overtime. Like Zach said, we got 3 attempts if needed. The way the overtime ruling works, it's a 2 to go once we go green. If we get a yellow flag in that first lap, we will go into our second attempt. But if we get the white flag, anything goes. It's all about who crosses the line first. If you spin out, if you wreck on that white flag, it will not throw out a yellow. It is all about crossing the line first. And we've seen the entry of turn 3, the center of turn 3, be a very dangerous spot. Could we see someone send it in there and maybe use up another driver? Time will tell when we get back to racing action as the lights are about to flick off. Zach, it is John Forbes, Ethan Smith, as well as Danny Cochran up front, your top 3. What are you thinking in the mindset of those drivers getting themselves set up here?
They got to have the mindset of best restart possible. They have to get going and get clear heading down into 1 and 2. I mean, if you're John Forbes, you got to have a great restart. You got to have the greatest restart of your season so far, because you know those 4 tires are back there looming. You know they have probably a superior speed with the 4 tires, and you're going to have to be ready for any type of moment. So if you don't get the greatest restart, you go into the corner side by side with your teammate even. That allows Trenton Jump to have even more opportunities available to him. I mean, if you're Danny Cochran, if he gets the top 5 here tonight, he's going to be happy with that after his major moment coming off of 4. So he knows what is available to him there. But these 2 tires, the biggest thing is you got to get a good launch. You cannot flounder here on this restart and just go nowhere, because those 4 tires behind will fire off much quicker.
They're set off, they're ready to go. Some people in chat thinking that of Joshua Kanata is in the best spot. Others thinking Trenton Jump's in a good spot on where they're at. Again, it's the 11 machine on the inside that is in the lead position that is going to be able to take off first, meaning that Danny Cochran in second place could keep himself side by side with that of Ethan Smith. But could there be some extra contact? Trenton Jump got into Oli Fonseca. That's what brought out the last yellow. And that could be a little bit of pressure where the drivers that have 4 fresh tires feel like they can get back into the throttle better than everyone else. And also with it being cooled down even more, Zach, that means that a little advantage that the drivers had that took 2 tires, it kind of is shrinking into, do they even have an advantage now?
That's very questionable. These drivers are going to go try to have every advantage they can, but it could be shrinking away. I mean, with how this is going with these cautions like this is allowing the left side tires that were used on these drivers' trucks to cool down. That is going to bring the grip level up for those tires. So we'll see how it fires off. Do we have a spectacular sideways moment coming off of 2? We'll have to see here this time, because John Forbes is going to have control. His teammate Ethan Smith also on the 2 tires. Danny Cocker on 2 tires also. Those first 3 trucks, we'll see how they fare.
Let's settle in. Let's get ready. It is our first attempt at overtime. We've got 3 if needed. John Forbes in the 11 machine about to get us started here for the Lariat Productions 225 here at Twin Ring Motegi for the ISRC Truck Series. Race number 5 is back underway, and they're going to be side by side. Ethan Smith caping himself side by side with the leader. John Forbes could not get the advantage. They're going to be sliding into turn number 1. Here we go, Zach. Watch out for that 16 and 14 in 4th place.
16 definitely looks to be in the best position here coming off of 2, but it's going to be Trenton Jump looking to the outside of Cochran, who's going to close the door. He's going to get the shove from the 46. Now they're 3 wide, and they're wrecking in the back.
Wrecking in the back. It's the 15 of Upbrook that's going to be bringing out the yellow. And they were 3 wide for 4th place. Mick Crawford came out of nowhere trying to stick his nose. That will not be the attempt. We get our 10th caution of the night. We're going overtime attempt number 2.
That we are, folks. I tell you what, they were going for it every little bit up front there down that back straightaway, but back here, you're going to see a simple mistake made by the 15 up in that upper groove there in 1 and 2. It's just going to all go sideways here through the center of the corner, and as those cold tires just stepping out on them, and right from here, Upbrook is pretty much a passenger in that truck as he's trying to save every little bit of it, but now he's going to come down across the nose of the truck in front of him, and that's going to send him down towards that inside wall here. You can see Zachary Peterson, he's trying to make it through.
Yeah, and that other driver that made contact, that was the 26 of Tyler Horn that was T-boning the 15 and spinning around, resetting. This is going to put us into our 2nd attempt at overtime. We got 3 attempts if needed. Same ruling of the first attempt goes into the 2nd. We have a 2-lap attempt here. If we get a yellow flag on this first lap, we will then go into our 3rd attempt if needed. But if we get the white flag, anything goes. It's all about crossing the line first. And can we see a first-time winner of this season, or could we find ourselves getting our first multi-time winner? John Forbes won all the way back at the beginning of the season, back at Daytona, where we just needed 1 overtime attempt there. Well, we need our 2nd overtime attempt here at Twin Ring Motegi. Basically across the world was that Daytona race to this destination in Japan, and international waters here, Zach, a first time for this series. And now we get to see how these drivers are going to finish this out with our 2nd attempt at overtime.
With it, how it played out there off of turn number 2 there, that last restart, I'm thinking these 2 tires might be in a very good position to hold station. I mean, they're definitely going to have the 4 tires hounding them, but it's going to be so tough to come from 4th, 5th, and 6th for those drivers. So we'll see how that does shake out here. But man, oh man, I tell you what, John Forbes just needs to get another good restart. And it wasn't the greatest restart that last time. It was definitely a side-by-side one there, heading down to the corner with his teammate Ethan Smith, who kind of, he timed that restart almost perfectly, almost kind of jumped it in my opinion. So that was close action between those 2, but it was good for him to slot in the 2nd, and that's, I'm pretty sure, what they're trying to do here to get this 1-2.
They certainly are trying to get this 1-2 finish for that of Blackjack Racing, and both of these drivers, John Forbes, Ethan Smith, you look at the history books, they come in 1-2 in the most starts in that of ISRC history, with John Forbes coming in 2nd, Ethan Smith with the most at 60 starts before tonight. And for Ethan Smith, has 6 wins in his career. The last time that he won was all the way back at that of Rockingham at a very controversial race for the 00, where that of John Forbes was caught for intentionally bringing out a yellow that assisted his teammate. For John Forbes, though, this season it's been trying to scrub away that smear on his reputation, and trying to find himself in victory lane once again. John Forbes has done this before, where he's won multiple times in a season. That season, all the way back in season 2, Zach, where this 11 was dominating that year, where he was just winning after win after win, coming away with 5 wins total in season 2. Can he go for another spree here and now in season 4?
I think that's the question to be had, man. He was on such a tear during that season that if he can go here and get his second win here tonight of the season, I think that kind of sends the warning shot across the bow of everybody saying, hey, John Forbes is back to play, and he is going to be a tough cookie to beat this season. I know after such a lackluster one last season, he's probably got that in his mind coming into this race. So big stuff on the line, no doubt. But can John Forbes hold back his teammates, Danny Cochran, Joshua Kanata, Trenton Jump in the 5th position now, who, in my opinion, is in the best position with the 4 tires here, just due to being able to restart in that bottom lane, but he can't get stuck behind the 2 tires, which will quickly happen. We'll just have to see how this shakes out, because right now, with the more and more cooling down has been happening, I think it just makes the 2 tires that much more better, with the left sides being nice and cool here, able to grip up evenly with that right side of the tires. It's going to be one for the ages here, folks. And you never know, we might go to a 3rd overtime.
You never know. A 3rd overtime attempt will change up how the ruling could finish out with this race. We're hoping it finishes under this one and under green, as we are under our 2nd attempt at overtime. Again, the way that the ruling works, it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. If we get a caution under the 1st lap, then we will go into our 3rd attempt at overtime. But if we go to that last lap, the white flag is thrown. It is all about who crosses the line first. Any wreck that happens on that last lap will not bring out a yellow, and it's all about gloves off. Who's going to get this race done? As John Forbes, Ethan Smith, ready to get themselves rolling here tonight. They had a great launch on that last attempt. Can they make it work once more? Pace car is off. Our 2nd attempt at overtime is green, and John Forbes was a much better launch for himself. It's going to be that Joshua Kanata who's going to be trying to get to the outside quarter panel and up double zero. And here we go, down into turn number 1.
Here we go, folks. Everything opening up, and it's a great, like Sam said, it's a great restart for the 11. He's looking in his mirror, seeing everything go sideways. And right now, down the back straightaway, it's Kanata with the best chance in the 16 with 4 tires, but it's a big block in the background from Cody Reed to Ryan Crowfoot.
Crowfoot's going to be trying to dive down low. Also going to be Nick Crawford diving down low for that 4th place. But up front, it is John Forbes having about a truck and a half length lead over that of Ethan Smith, of his teammate. And across the line, white flag is out. It's the Larry Art Productions white flag. This race is official as they're sending it down in these final corners. Anything goes. And it's John Forbes leading by 3/10 over Ethan Smith.
Easily holding on to this position. They're wrecking farther back, but it's the white flag. It doesn't matter. It's the 11 of John Forbes looking for his 2nd victory of the early part of this season, and he's doing a great job as he makes it to 3 and 4 for the final time.
Down into turn number 3 and out of turn number 4. He won at Daytona to start the year off. We'll crown him a 2nd-time winner this season. He wins in Japan. Give it to the 11 of John Forbes, winning here at Twin Ring Motegi.
What a wild finish, and as Trenton Jump getting spun in the background, he's going to bring it well back into the finish. So the 46 after that, it's all going to come to an end for him. As what a terrible way to end for that 46 machine, who got turned by the 13 of Cedric Hunter there in the final corner. But John Forbes, the man of the hour, makes the right call, and he wins the race.
And as well, that Joshua Kanata 3rd place finish for the 16, who was one of our biggest movers up of the night, as he's up 17 positions from where he finished. Biggest mover of the night, going to be gifted to the 1, Michael Sheffield. But getting able to burn it down is going to be the 11, and also his teammates, Blackjack Racing. They get to have some fun burning this down together, but the 11, our first multi-time winner of the season. And Zach, I mean, this 11, he did a multi-time win back in season 3 and for that of season 2. But this just seems like John Forbes is back after winning here tonight.
That he is back in victory lane for the 2nd time. And like you said, I think he's just back overall, because he starts winning multiple races. That's going to be a tough sight to see after what he did a couple seasons ago. So we'll see if he can continue this trend as he does the team burnouts with his team as they get first, second, and fifth here to end tonight's race. What a good night for Blackjack Racing.
They get to have their fun, burn it down. You can see the smoke just billowing up. And for us, we are going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to be talking to our top two and the spotlight driver in just a few moments. Stick with us, the post-race show, in just a few moments. Welcome back to the post-race show, as we have our top 3 that we're going to be talking to get their thoughts on how tonight's race went. As we're going to head to victory lane for tonight's race, as your winner for the Larry Art Productions 225 was that of the 11 of Joshua Freed. That's how we're going to go. As we've got that of John, going to be bringing in John Forbes up into the booth. We've got the 11 with us. John, how are you doing after that win here tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. That track. I didn't know what to expect going into it. Just kind of a random place to go. And everyone was expecting it was probably going to be like Indy, but just right from the drop of the green flag, it was just a blast all night long. Went better than I expected. Just a new track, never done any races here before. So just kind of getting in the groove all night. And yeah, in the end, I knew I had to make that 2-tire call, just restarting behind I think it was Jump for like the last 4 restarts, and I just couldn't get even close to him. Like he'd have 3 or 4 truck lengths on me by turn 1. So yeah, I just knew that 2-tire call was going to be what was going to get it done there.
Well, John, it definitely worked out, man. Second win of the season. That's great to see. Already multiple wins for you this season. First one of the league to do that. But yeah, takes to the 2-tire call. Was that practiced, and did you know what was going to happen, or were you just kind of winging it?
Well, as we see a lot, Ethan is the guy to kind of experiment with that a lot, and he's gotten a lot of wins from it. And usually I'm just the guy behind him that follows on the strategy. So he said he'd practice with it a little bit. And he said he actually got loose from it. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna finish or win the race if I don't do this call. So I wanted to at least give myself a shot. Um, and the truck actually got really tight. And now that I'm looking at the track temperature at the end, it cooled down a lot compared to what we were practicing in. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I just knew it was going to have to be a call I had to take. And I knew Ethan was going to be doing that too. So I figured we'd at least be able to try to hold him back and give us a shot there. And it worked out perfectly.
Well, John, I mean, a fantastic run on your part. You're going to be the first driver to have a multi-time winner this season. And now we're heading into more, this streak of tracks counting tonight has been very awkward to look at. I mean, we had here of Twin Ring, we're going to Darlington Auto Club, Port Royal for dirt track racing, and then road course racing at Fuji. How are you feeling for the next 4 tracks that are coming up on how well you can try to get back into victory lane?
I'm super excited. As you know, I almost won Darlington season 1. I would have if I didn't get taken up by a lap car. So I love Darlington. I love going there. So really looking forward to that. And Auto Club is my home track, so always good to go race there. But yeah, really looking forward to those 2 tracks. And then unfortunately, I won't be here for the dirt race, but always do good there. So I wish I could have been there, could be there for that week. But yeah, definitely loving the schedule for this season and the tracks and places we're going to. I feel like they are really my wheelhouse for the types of tracks that I like to race on. So really looking forward to them.
Well, John, congratulations again on winning here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates. Doing a lot of practice with them, and I want to thank Ethan and I think Danny, Cody, just everyone have been racing around, and for their tips and advice during the race and stuff. I want to thank my friends and family who are always watching every week. Um, and I want to thank you guys for putting this on every week. Can't wait to go back and watch it later.
Well, John, congratulations on the win, as that is going to be your winner here tonight, and good luck next week.
Thank you guys.
As we go from victory lane, we head to second place, where we are going to be finding that of Ethan Smith, who also went with the 2-tire strategy here tonight. Ethan, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Congratulations on second place. Man, how are you feeling after a very chaotic night here?
Oh, I'm feeling a little better now. I've had not so good of a start to this season. Unfortunately, I've been caught up in accidents, qualifying kind of in the middle of the pack, and I've just been unfortunate with those situations, and I haven't really had a chance to really show what I got at some of these tracks. And these weird tracks, I was really excited for it. I had some speed. I wish I qualified a little better, but I was staying in the top 8, top 7-ish for most of the race. Had a little contact with Ollie, lost some spots, gained them back. It's a tough track. It benefits to either go really hard really quick in the beginning or saving tires. It really just depends on how many cautions there were. And 2 tires really was hoping I was going to get the jump and get out there in first, but my teammate finishing first and me second, which is the best in this season so far. I can't complain. And Cody getting 5th, which was awesome.
Definitely a good night for Blackjack Racing there, Ethan. Congrats on second, man. And we've seen it all night. The difference between the grooves. The bottom just seems so dominant. Take us through like the choices of there and how hard it was to make that top side work.
Top side's non-existent if you're exiting on the top lane or on a lane anything lower than right on the line or anything higher than right on the line. I was trying to arc my corners to get as much speed on the exit to work on catching the guy in front of me. And if there was someone right behind you, you really just had to play defense and wait for their right front to burn up. That's really all you could do. It was really hard to pass. Like I said, me and Ollie got in some contact there. Him and I were just both racing hard. I nudged him going into 3. I apologized to him, and he nudged me, I think, coming out of 4. I can't remember right now, but we were just racing hard, and that's just how it is. You can't pass here, and it gets frustrating. I'm glad he hung on to it when I bumped him and whatnot, and it was some good racing. I thought I had a little bit more speed, but having clean air clearly really helps.
And, we're heading to a track of Darlington where clean air maybe isn't always the most important thing to go to. But how are you feeling about this upcoming track that's pretty similar in design in some facets that we're heading to next?
I'm pretty excited. It's those weird tracks that I've had luck at. Rockingham, for example, a lot of people struggle at it, but I've just had luck there. Just the weird tracks that come out, like this one, for example. I didn't think I was going to do too well, but I picked it up fairly quick. Darlington, I'm excited for. Auto Club is all right. But I'm really looking forward to is Bristol. I've finished really well there, other than last season where I got the pole and dumped it in turn 1. And I know that's weeks and weeks away, but I'm really looking forward to Bristol. Really, it's going to be my redemption race for me. I'm hoping to squeeze in a win or 2 before that. That's definitely the plan. Like I said, I'm not having too good of a start to the season, but this is a step in the right direction.
Well, Ethan, a great run here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I think my teammates, John, Cody, we work together really well. Danny and Ollie, we've been practicing every once in a while together. I've been fairly busy lately, so I haven't been able to as much with them, but I just want to thank them. They've been helpful, with us learning the tracks. We race pretty good around each other. You guys for putting on the broadcast. You guys always do a great job. Everyone who joined this league, stuff happens. People get angry at each other. I've been angry at people, but I'm glad everyone's still here and we're still racing, and we can have put on a good show. Friends, family, everyone else that's watching, thank them as well.
Well, that's going to be the 00 of Ethan Smith. Congratulations, Ethan, on a second place finish, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you.
As we go from that, a second placer spotlight driver, going to be third place finisher, that of Joshua Kanata. Josh, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. Man, coming away third place, one of our biggest movers of the night. Man, how are you feeling after that performance here this evening?
A lot better than when I started, that's for sure. No, that was a wacky race. I don't think anybody really knew what to expect coming here to Motegi. It's a very unique track. It's hard to pass. I'm ecstatic, to be completely honest with you. That was awesome.
Well, it was a very, very good run for you tonight, Josh. I tell you, man, coming into tonight, your best finish was 4th at Daytona, and now you come out here with a 3rd place finish. How does that feel to get you the ball back rolling here when it comes to points-wise to maybe get that chance to get yourself into those playoffs?
Yeah, it feels great. Obviously, that's kind of what we're all shooting towards and hoping. We got a really tough stretch of tracks coming up, obviously, with Darlington and Port Royal, Fuji being 3 of the next 4. I don't really know how those are going to go. But it's good to get a good finish in here to try to maybe sneak my way in.
I mean, Josh, for this run, we saw drivers on the last pit stop. A lot of drivers taking the attempts of 2 tires compared to yourself who took 4. Was there a thought of taking 2 tires, or was it always 4 tires and let's see where we finish?
There was definitely a thought, but I think we had a couple guys try 2 tires earlier on and they just fell like a rock. So I give John and Ethan all the credit in the world. I mean, they I'm actually very surprised they made it work, man. Those two were fast, and I feel like maybe a few more laps I would have been able to make it count with the 4 tires, but they absolutely earned it, and I'm just happy I could finish where I did.
Well, congratulations, Josh, on on a third place finish here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody, all my teammates at Revline, Ryan Crowfoot, Kyle Tate, Jordan Smeets, and everybody else that helps us practice with these things. Obviously, thank you guys for putting on such a great show. I love watching these things. Everybody who's watching, I know I got family and friends watching, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. And looking forward to next week. Hopefully, I'll be right back here. We'll see.
We hope to be talking to you then. That's going to be the 16 machine of Joshua Kanata. Congratulations on third place, and good luck next week heading to Darlington.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
As we go from our spotlight driver, we head to looking at the unofficial results of tonight's race, where again, a lot of drivers attesting to 2 tires. For some, it worked out. For others, it didn't. And at the end of the day, we got to see our first multi-time winner of the season, John Forbes in the 11 machine, getting it done for himself, as well as going to be able to have that of Ethan Smith, his teammate from Blackjack Racing, second place. Revline, that of Kanata, Joshua Kanata, going to get third. And you look at the rest of the field, Danny Cochran, Cody Reed, Cedric Connor, great recovery runs for those 3 drivers. Ryan Crowfoot, probably one of his best finishes of the season for the 12. Nick Crawford fell back from where he wanted to be, as he was one of the heavy favorites earlier on. GT Rosari and Christopher Norris finishing out our top 10.
Yeah, and as you look through the rest of the field, it was definitely some come-ups for some drivers. Tyler Dingle and Michael Sheffield there in 11th and 12th. Those are great finishes. Stephen Baldwin, 13th. I mean, really, everybody from really 11th back to 15th, they gained a ton in those last few moments of this race. So what a wild scene there. But you also had Trenton Jump bringing it home 22nd after leading late before that last caution, seeing his chances at a victory slip away with late incident between him and the 13th Cedric Hunter. Then you also had drivers like Mark Whitley finish back in 33rd after leading a bunch of laps in this race, getting a penalty on pit road, and just never being able to make it up and getting involved in the incident himself, coming down to bring out all that wild ending of this race. But still, what a fantastic race. Tough breaks for some drivers, but some upswings for the other ones, as like a few of the drivers said, we head into a tough part of the schedule.
They really are heading to a tough part of the schedule, and with John Forbes' win here tonight, it breaks our streak of 4 races, 4 different winners. John Forbes gets his second one here tonight. And the next track we're heading towards is a track that actually was brought up that made Twin Ring possible. Those engineers went to that at Darlington, said we want to mimic that in Japan, but now we get to race the real deal next week. Darlington, the next destination for the ISRC Truck Series. And Zach, a track that we saw drivers aiming for the low line here tonight. Well, it's going to be a little bit different next week.
That's for sure. No doubt there. They're going to be up against that wall, and there's a reason why they call it the track Too Tough to Tame, because it can reach out and bite you at any single moment with you riding against that wall, and we'll see who can master it. I mean, it's always interesting. You know, I myself as a driver have went there before and felt very confident, and then came back the next time and just lost all confidence. A track that confidence is key, so the driver that can go out there and feel very comfortable being able to rip the wall and be able to stay right against it and keep their tires underneath them because of how abrasive that surface is will have a very good shot to go out there and get that elusive victory here at ISRC, because we know how tough it's been so far for some of these drivers who've been just so close so many times but have had just simple mistakes take it right out their grasps. Darlington's definitely going to be one of those tracks that can easily do that.
We can't wait to see other drivers go and attack at that at Darlington, but here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we got plenty of more broadcasts still in front of us to bring up. We usually have ourselves the Full Send Racing Series on Tuesdays, but they're taking Valentine's Day off tomorrow, so have a great time having a break from watching our broadcasts. But we'll be right back Wednesday night for that of the Wicked Racing League. If you checked out Saturday for our charity race, you got to see that of 500 miles, 200 laps laps of this track. It's Daytona for the Wicked Racing League for their round number 6 of the season. Then on Thursday, Stars and Stripes, the ARCA cars get to try out that of Rockingham and see if they can tackle the Rock. And because we don't have any racing on Tuesday, we still have 4 races this week because the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series is back to racing action on Saturdays. Their first race at Daytona this Saturday night. Cannot wait for it. Plenty of racing action. And then we're right back here Monday night to start the week all over again at Darlington. It's been a pleasure to give you the coverage here tonight. And Zach, if you got any final thoughts, the stage is yours.
Well, big thumbs up first off to Motegi. That was awesome. I can't wait to see more races here in the future, hopefully, from a few of these leagues out here. And yeah, just another wild ending to these races here. It seems like Monday night, it's never a straightforward finish. It's always got some type of twist or turn right towards the end. So you got to stay on your toes and think quick if you want to get a win here at ISRC. But it's got a great week of racing heading up for us. And then next week back here at Darlington, it's going to be a fun time also.
Cannot wait for it. And as well, big thanks to that of Robert Moyer Jr. running productions in the background. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, and everyone else that works here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Thank you for joining us on your Monday night. We've got plenty of great action still upon us. Wednesday will be our next destination for Freaky Fast Broadcasting coverage. It's the Wicked Racing League, Daytona. Cannot wait for it. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.